The energy inside Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is palpable right now. I'm looking around and there is, with less than 15 minutes to kick off, pretty much every seat occupied. They're enjoying the Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders. Of course, the Vikings, the de facto home team this afternoon. So both end zones resplendent with the Vikings logo and the Vikings purple. And they get to bring their cheerleaders, their mascot, to hype up the crowd, which is definitely peppered with a fair amount of Jets fans. But it feels like a Vikings home game. We are getting closer to kickoff right here on talkSPORT 2.
The tales of Viking legend ripple through time, history.
I don't think we're live at the moment, are we?
Now,
are we back up?
woven as one. The true
To un-geo-block it, right, fine. Lovely. Well, we're back in the house, Jason Bell has just rocked up on the commentary position next to us. It's we've been here since 1:30 broadcasting, live on YouTube. Hopefully you guys are back on the stream. I know I had to go down briefly, but we are back up and running now. And it is, we are live in the stadium ahead of kickoff, which is only 12 minutes away, but some wonderful Jason and Osi rocking up just as we're getting towards final kick for the TV coverage. TV commentary is great, but where it's at, CSW, Will Gavin, Nat Coombs on the radio commentary, obvious.
And live on YouTube.
And live on YouTube. Don't forget the YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube as well, Endzone, for content all season long. Right, where are we? There, keeping an eye on the length of the kicks, Will, because it's exactly what we're seeing. Both the punters and the kickers on the field right now, going through their paces. And listen to that. If you can pick that out, the New York Jets taking the field to a chorus of boos, Christy.
Quite fitting for a home game, for a home Minnesota game.
Where were you with that? What was the most raucous away environment, road environment you went into?
Oh,
Philly?
Lambeau Field
Lambeau.
was mad. Because especially, even though it was a preseason game that I played in, that was my second ever NFL game, and it was packed 85,000 people, and you would have thought it was a regular season game, and I was just shell-shocked.
People asking what went wrong then. Sorry guys, we are back. Oh, and we're back on radio as well.
Welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where the New York Jets have just taken the field to I think the business definition is a mixed reception.
I think that's polite.
The diplomatic.
I suggested that the Vikings were going to be turning up today early and that we were going to see a good mix of Jets and Vikings fans as we get to within 10 minutes of kick. Oh, I think it's pretty much about 80% Vikings. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's a lot of neutral fans here. As always, with the NFL London games and the international series, you get fans wearing every single jersey from across the NFL. And so the underdogs will be rooted for in a big way.
Now, listen to that. As the Minnesota Vikings take the field. And that 80% Vikings crowd showing them how much they love their players. It is always great to see, of course, fans from all over the world coming to the London game. Sure, a lot from the UK and Ireland. Sure, a lot have flown across the pond from Minnesota. But across Europe, further afield, it is very much an international crowd here.
I was going to say, we've seen the offensive line coming out, but now we're getting the offensive line, we're getting all the offensive starters being introduced individually. A great NFL tradition. That corner looks absolutely sensational, by the way, with the huge London Games logo, with the bright lights coming out there, with the smoke as well. And look, we're going to get the national anthems, we're going to get the flags, we're going to get the whole kit and caboodle. And I think it's one of the things people love about these games, is all that pomp and all that circumstance.
One of the players, one of the superstars we're going to see coming out very soon, and you'll probably be able to guess when he comes out of that tunnel because of the pop this crowd's going to give him, is Justin Jefferson. The best receiver in the NFL right now?
Easily. I think he's always open. Always open. You beg to differ, Will.
No, I like it. I think you're right, but it's
superstar.
You just
superstar
went
of the league.
You didn't caveat it or anything. You just went hard.
I'm not on the fence. I'm all in on Justin Jefferson. The production, what he means to the league, the celebrations, how he's captured a whole generation of young players who want to end up going to college, going to the NFL, I mean, the guy is always open.
He really is, and he's going to have an interesting afternoon up against Sauce Gardner, the New York Jets cornerback, who would argue he is the equivalent in his position, the best corner in the league. So what a battle that's going to be.
Yeah, what you've got in there, here he comes, Justin Jefferson, helmet off, roared into the stadium. Huge reaction for the Minnesota Vikings, and particularly Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson, the big question today, and what I want to see on those first couple of drives, is do they single up Justin Jefferson against Sauce Gardner? Because traditionally the Jets defense tend to side the field. DJ Reed one side is a very good corner, the free agent pickup from Seattle, and Sauce Gardner on the other side. There's been a lot of talk this week about do you make Sauce travel with Justin Jefferson? And so with that being the conversation, I went and did the research about corners who travel with Justin Jefferson. When do you think was the last time a corner travelled with Justin Jefferson for the whole game?
Ooh. I don't know, 2 years ago?
Here, 2 years ago, when Marshall and Lattimore did it for the New Orleans Saints.
That's fine work.
And he had 10 catches for 147 yards and was very unlucky not to get a touchdown. Honestly, I was like, 2 years, and not one team hasn't said, we're doubling that guy, we're bringing guys across, we're doing everything we can to cover him extra. So I don't think it happens, but I think it's fascinating to watch whether there's that possibility they do try and track it.
But also, going into that London game 2 years ago, I remember Justin Jefferson was off to a slightly slow start to the year because he was getting locked down. And this was the game where I said Kevin O'Connell has to move him around, get him moving into different positions, and then that's exactly what happened. He had that amazing game going for over 100 yards.
Welcome to Tottenham, everybody.
Speaking about Kevin O'Connell, we'll hold that thought a minute because I think we're just picking up
Tails.
Mike's live on.
That is heads.
Field.
That's tails. Your choice.
Heads.
Choice is heads. It is tails. You want to toss. Which way you want to kick? Minnesota has won the toss.
Yeah.
They elected to defer. New York will receive. Good luck.
You didn't need to say that Minnesota won the toss. You just heard the cheer, and it was locked in. They're deferring, of course.
I think that's fascinating. Thomas Morstead called the toss. They decided that they were going to defer the Vikings. I think letting I'm so upset with Aaron Rodgers.
Steady.
Letting the green team.
Letting Gangrene take the ball first could be an error. Because if they score on that opening drive, I think we could see a blow-for-blow type game. If the Vikings can get up by 2 scores early, it's a rare occasion. I normally like the defer and trying to steal a possession at half-time.
Yeah.
But this is a rare occasion I'd have taken the ball about the Vikings.
Yeah, it's a fair point, and of course, the Jets, as we talked about their misfiring offense much of the season, they need to get on the front foot, put the Vikings on the back foot early on. So interesting decision. Now, as we're getting closer to kickoff, under 5 minutes, of course, we're going to be having the national anthems, as is the convention here in the NFL London games. We have both the Star Spangled Banner and God Save the King. First up, of course, it is the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
great rendition, Nat, and I've got to say, the way that the flag spilled out of the box it was stood on.
Please welcome London vocalist Florence Rawlings.
Lord, save the gracious King, long live our noble King. God save thy King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, on to reign over us. God save the King.
The sky resplendent with red, white and blue smoke as the fireworks all around the top of the stadium fire off. And the production values for both of those anthems, absolutely superb, arresting stuff, the hairs on the back of our neck, as always is the way at this stage of proceedings. Brilliant renditions, and it means, of course, we are moments away from kickoff. And on the screen now, Jared Allen, Vikings great, NFL great, and of course, along with our very own OCU Minura being inducted into the NFL London Ring of Honor, the very first Ring of Honor, the inaugural Ring of Honor inductees. Jared Allen leading the Vikings faithful with the skull chant. Let's hear this crowd. I think your suspicions were bang on, Will Gavin. This is a very Vikings crowd. There are plenty of non-Vikings fans getting involved with it as well, it seems, the Jets fans. Much like teams when they're facing the hacker. Staring it down. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant to see Jared Allen here. He's been here, of course, all week, as have a lot of the Vikings legends, as is the way with NFL London. And it means with that fantastic rendition, we are ready for kickoff. So I will hand over to call you through the game to Christian Scotland-Williamson alongside Will Gavin.
Whilst obviously not the first international series game of the year, that went to Brazil in week 1. What a huge game we do have for you this afternoon live on talkSPORT 2 as the undefeated Minnesota Vikings face off with what they're hoping will be the resurgent New York Jets. A tale of two quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers looking for one last final run, and Sam Darnold, the man who's just won NFC Player of the Season. The kick is fielded deep and brought out to the 20, out to the 25. Blockers in front, but it only gets as far as the 25-yard line. And that's where the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers will start their first drive. Isaiah Davis returning just his second kickoff of the season out to the 25-yard line. And for the first time today, we will see this Aaron Rodgers-led offense going up against the defense in Brian Flores coached that has just been absolutely sensational so far this year. Waiting to see exactly where the great pass rusher Jonathan Grenard is going to be lining up. I think over the rookie right tackle seems most likely. Rodgers will start the game from the 26. He is under centre. One back in behind him. Sends a tight end from left to right. And it'll be a run up the gut for Breece Hall. Stopped short for just a 1-yard game. And the opening play, I said early on, Christian Scotland-Williamson, this team had to win the early downs. That's not the start they were looking for.
No, but this offense needs Breece Hall to be able to function. Breece Hall has 308 scrimmage yards so far this season, and in games when he's quiet, the rest of the offense really struggles.
So just a 1-yard game, 2nd and 9, ball on the 27. Rodgers back under centre again, 3 receivers to his right, an ex-receiver to his left in Alan Lazard, and one back in the backfield. Fakes the handoff, has time in the pocket, throws to a man who looks like he's going to be wide open, Garrett Wilson, on the sideline, under some pressure. But the ball wide and out of play. Great coverage from Stephon Gilmore, and that's going to be 3rd and long.
Really interesting there. They've run the ball first down. Then second down, they had an easy check down right over the middle where he could have turned and probably got up for near the sticks, but instead goes for the out. And it's a miscue again with that Rodgers-Garrett Wilson connection. We're not seeing it yet.
Not a huge amount of pressure from the Vikings front. As always, Josh Metellus getting up to the line of scrimmage. They are showing 7 men at the front, 4 in coverage. Breece Hall is moved from left to right. 2 receivers right, 2 receivers left for Rodgers. Rodgers calls a check at the line of scrimmage and goes for the quick check down to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson gets about an 8-yard gain on the play, but goes to ground as he makes the catch and will be a yard short of the first down marker. And right now there's some confusion with the punting unit coming out onto the field. Rodgers seemed to want the offense to stay out there on 4th and 1 at the 35-yard line. But the call from Salah, the call from Nathaniel Hackett is let's punt the ball away.
Interesting, they've gone double slant on the backside, and if Garrett Wilson keeps his feet, he could have broken that for a long one. But this, again, the decision to defer by the Vikings looks like a good one now with a 3 and out.
Thomas Morstead back to punt, looking to receive this. Brandon Powell for the Minnesota Vikings is lurking around the 19-yard line. It's a high arcing punt, good coverage from the Jets, caught around the 12-yard line. Fair catch from Brandon Powell, and it'll be a deep start for the first time. We see Sam Darnold out on the field for these Minnesota Vikings. 4-0 on the season so far. Darnold has 11 touchdown passes on the season, a passer rating of 118.9, and is on a list of players including Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson to have a start to the season like that. He's been incredible so far. What can he do against a much vaunted Jets defense early doors? We are seeing Sauce Gardner will line up on the left and will line up one-on-one with Justin Jefferson for the opening play. Sam Darnold from the 11 starts under centre. Aaron Jones, former Green Bay Packer, in the field behind him. And he goes for a quick check to Justin Jefferson, who fumbles the ball, but out of bounds on that far right-hand side. It was a quick get out, and Sauce Gardner got in, punched that ball away. But Jefferson fumbles the ball out of bounds, and they end up picking up just a couple of yards before the ball came out.
This is a box office matchup. This is what you want to see. Early, one-on-one, and he punches the ball out. But the thing is, he got the ball in space to Justin Jefferson, and you wonder, backed up within your 10, is that the right play to call?
They're calling that a no catch by the looks of it. They are saying that is ruled incomplete. I thought he had the ball and made a good turn upfield before he lost it. But we will get Jefferson lining back up against Sauce Gardner on that side again. Same formation from the Vikings, having set to the left. This time it does go into the gut of Aaron Jones. Jones spinning out one tackle, breaking another up to the 20 and then the 21-yard line eventually. Nice pickup for Aaron Jones. Good start for life for him in Minnesota, and that's going to give them a 3rd and 2, ball on the 20.
Good contact balance to spin out of that first collision and ride it for a positive gain. That's an explosive, and that gets them out of a bit of trouble in this early drive.
Already 321 yards and a touch on the season, 2nd touchdown receiving, as well as the Vikings on short yardage go empty. On the right side, Addison and Jefferson. To the left, Aaron Jones, who is now going to go in motion from left to right for a stack. Sam Darnold, 5-step drop, he's got time in the pocket, finds him out of the middle, finds his tight end, out to 30, out to the 31-yard line. Nice, quick, simple completion to Johnny Munt, and that will be a Minnesota Vikings first down.
Good patience there, because the Jets actually show man-to-man with Sauce Gardner lining up in the slot against Justin Jefferson, but then Sauce leaves his man, which means that Darnold has to go through his progression, and then the tight end leaks out early to the left and he finds his man.
11-yard gain out to the 31-yard line. 11:45 left in the first quarter. Minnesota 1st and 10 from the 31. Jones in the backfield again. Stack receivers Addison and Jefferson to his right. Jefferson motions outright. Good block in from Jones. Chance to hit Jefferson over the middle. Right on the numbers at the 50. Gains an extra 8 yards out to the 42-yard line of the New York Jets. And that was a brilliant in-breaking route from Justin Jefferson. He caught it right smack bang in the centre of the NFL logo. And it will be another Vikings first down into Jets territory.
Just great use of the formation there. Short motion out for Justin Jefferson to the side. He fakes as if he's going to run the corner and then brings it in on the dig with an open and perfectly placed ball.
26-yard gain, then big chunk plays. Jefferson this time line up left, and they do leave DJ Reed on him. Addison right. Jones in the backfield. Munt in motion from left to right, and it does go to Aaron Jones up the middle. Tackled right smack bang around the 3-yard line. In on the tackle. Looked like it was safety Chuck Clark, and that will be about a 4-yard gain out to the 40.
This is a great drive already because there's a nice complement of Aaron Jones running the ball, getting them some good, honest yards, making this Jets defense stay true to the run, which opens up the passing game for Justin Jefferson. It's really good complementary football on this drive early.
No quick huddle from the Vikings. They do get up to the line of scrimmage, though, with time left on the clock and time to check down. Darnold calls a motion, sends a man from right to left. Jefferson is on the left up against DJ Reed, and that's the direction Darnold looks, and Darnold goes to Jefferson on the sideline. DJ Reed contacts him nice and early. That's brilliant coverage from the former Seattle Seahawk. And that will be a 3rd and 7 now for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, blanket coverage on that play there. Good patient defense from the Jets, not letting anything get in front of them and then breaking on the ball as soon as the ball's thrown.
Right now, it'll be a 57-yard field goal from here. Conditions here at Tottenham, very makeable. Not a huge amount of wind, you can see from the stanchions behind. But the Vikings won't be thinking field goal. They'll be thinking first down here. Right, 2 stacked to the right, including Jefferson. He's got now C.J. Ham, the fullback, in the backfield alongside him. Jordan Addison moves from left to right. It's great, a 3-man stack on that right, and that's the direction. Darnold looks, and Darnold finds Jefferson right around the first down marker. Jefferson taken down. And it's going to be just a Minnesota Vikings first down, given his motion out to the 33-yard line. And that's a 7-yard pickup, first down Vikings.
Great situational football and awareness of where the sticks are. They put the fullback
They've got
in
no
for protection.
huddle into the gut of the fullback, C.J. Ham. C.J. Ham rocking up the middle of that Jets defense, giving up big yardage on that play. That'll be about a 9-yard game on the no-huddle handoff to C.J. Ham, who had that on their bingo card for the opening drive.
Great tempo. They're catching this Jets defense unawares. They're hitting them with a 1-2 punch combination of not only speed and precision, but they're running the ball effectively.
2 tight ends set this time, 12 personnel with Oliver and Munt out on the field. Jefferson out there as well in the huddle. Aaron Jones coming in for C.J. Ham and Jordan Addison, who's out to the right of the formation. Jefferson singled up against DJ Reed to the left. Short 2 and 2nd and 1, and the ball does go to Aaron Jones, who's contacted in the backfield, manages to make the first man miss and then gets out about a yard, but based on the touch charge on the far side, I think they're going to call that 3rd and very short, just about back to the line of scrimmage.
And this is what you can't count out. This Jets defense has a strong defensive line that's able to penetrate and be able to hit the man in the backfield. Aaron Jones, again, good contact balance, barely makes it back to the line of scrimmage.
Really well broken through by the line by the linebacker Quincy Williams, but just wasn't able to bring Jones down for a loss. 3rd and 1, ball on the 24. Darnold stamps his foot and sends Addison from right to left. He has Jones leaking out to the right, but he has a pass rusher on top of him, and a pass rusher taking him down at the 36-yard line. Huge play from Will McDonald, the 6th sack of the season for him. And just as Kevin O'Connell gets a little bit cutesy on 3rd and short, the Jets get a stop and force a long field goal situation.
Sam Darnold unable to use his legs there, and you think he's a pocket passer, and he's rolling out to his right, being chased by a defensive lineman that's much quicker, and you have to think that Kevin O'Connell left his quarterback exposed on that play. That was a pretty poor play call for that situation.
Setting up for the kick then from the 54. Ball is up, ball is just long enough, and the kick is good. Will Ricard, the rookie man out of Alabama, makes the field goal. 3-0 game. The Minnesota Vikings lead the New York Jets here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 7:40 left in the first quarter, and you're listening to live and exclusive NFL coverage here on talkSPORT 2.
I think it's going to be a 28-point first half again.
You're going big. You think it's going to be big?
I think it's going to be
big.
They're moving the ball early, easily, and the thing is, they're going to spot the tendencies. The Jets, 6 plays probably this next drive. They're not looking like they're clicking at all.
Just a reminder, if you are watching on the YouTube channel, talkSPORT Endzone, our dedicated YouTube channel, do make sure to go and like and subscribe. Early poll on this one of who's going to win the game. The Minnesota Vikings, 76% of you in the chat fancy it over 24%. You can get your messages in there as well. There was a message came in early doors from Lucas Milburn asking about my play sheet. This is this is the Bible. This is the thing that I'm trying to make sure they can see it on camera. That has every player, every stat, everything put together. It is put together by a brilliant company and a brilliant service, Tony Britt Spotter Charts. But then you get to add all your own stuff on there.
The
all
A
your
to
own
Z of
nerdy
football.
stuff you do. Yeah.
Yellow pages.
I've got one of these for every team. I do it every single week.
He's done you like a kipper there, because you get fruit pastels, he gets the, he gets the chart. It is incredible to see that. And I remember the Super Bowl one he did as well, which was so invaluable. It's great. We need to pull back a bit more of the curtain as the game goes on. So
definitely.
I think there are a few more things we could do on that front.
So Aaron Rodgers back on the field. I think the field goal there, I've got to say, is a really good result for them.
Sure.
I didn't like the call on after. Well, we'll get into it.
Welcome back to NFL Live here on talkSPORT 2. First blood to the Vikings. But as we were just saying on the YouTube channel, if you're listening to us on talkSPORT 2, you can watch along as well. Over on talkSPORT Endzone Live, watch along on the YouTube channel. Will was just making the point that 3 points sure, first blood for the Vikes, but that'll be considered a win for the Jets, holding them to just 3.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially when you look at how the Jets offense came out early, 3 and out, for the defense to stand up and not leak a touchdown, especially when the Vikings were driving the ball quite convincingly with the run game and making big chunk plays in the passing game, moving Justin Jefferson from the right to the left. 3 points is a great result for them.
We're seeing Aaron Rodgers on the sideline on the TV pictures here from the London games, deep in conversation with his O-lineman and his weapons. It did not click on their opening drive of the game. And as Will Ricardo has all of the points to start this game so far, 7 of 7 for him this season on field goals, as long as 58, where he's going to kick the ball off, and we get to see Aaron Rodgers out here for a second time. Of course, came out with the Green Bay Packers 2 years ago, went up against the New York Giants, took an early lead and ended up losing that game on his only trip to London. Well, playing football, I'm sure he's been here before. As that kick goes into the end zone, fielded deep inside the purple paint of that Minnesota Vikings end zone, off to our left-hand side. And Isaiah Davis brings out the Packers offense. Christian, what do they need to do early?
They need to run the ball. They need to get Breece Hall going in this game, establish the run this Vikings defense out of their disguises, out of their blitz coverages, because the problem when you walk everyone up to the line is you have to have great gap discipline, especially in the run game. So they might be able to have a hat for a hat and then set up the play action later on, which we know Aaron Rodgers loves.
This Vikings defense, they lead in sacks, they lead in takeaways, they lead in blitzes this season, and they do bring another blitz early doors. Rodgers forced to dump the ball out to the left-hand side to Garrett Wilson, makes a first-man mix. Second tackler coming in on their late doors is Stephon Gilmore, but what could have been a big chunk loss play there, instead a 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6 going out to the 34.
It's good work from the Jets running the screen game, good blocking on the outside. But you do wonder, are they having to do too much to get 3-4 yards? It's a lot of effort to not really get much reward.
Yeah, I'm not a man who likes to put in too much effort to get not very much reward, it's fair to say. Rodgers under centre, tight end, going from left to right. This time the ball will go to his running back, Breece Hall, who is contacted in the backfield and brought down. Absolute crunching challenge. And guess what? It's on a blitzing player coming through. Ivan Pace Jr. back in the lineup today after injury, making a huge tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And actually they're going to call it right up to, so it's going to be a 3rd and 6 from the 34. Rodgers breaks the huddle. He's going to have 3 receivers to his left, including a tight end on the end of the line. Breece Hall in the backfield alongside him. Garrett Wilson singled up on the left. He now sends a tight end from left to right. Rodgers stamps his foot, checks the play again, gets the ball, deep step, 3-step drop, finds a man downfield. Garrett Wilson leads him in front, and despite him being wide open, Shaq Griffin nowhere near him. The ball is just too far out of his reach, goes into the ground, and it will be a second 3 and out of the game for the New York Jets.
This is what we said at the top of the show, the miscommunication, the miscues between Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. He flips his hips to the wrong side for where the ball's delivered. It's a perfectly thrown ball into the space, into the gap and void, and it should have come down with a completion. Aaron
Rodgers is walking his way up that sideline, trying to find Garrett Wilson, I imagine, to just have a quiet word with him. Straight to Hackett, Cap, he's straight on as they set up for the punt. Thomas Morstead, again, ball high and long, looking for Brandon Powell, who calls a fair catch, again around the 23. Player is bundled into him, ball is muffed, and it goes out of bounds. Jets ball, will they call it a Jets ball?
Jets ball.
I think what's happened there is that a returning player has pushed one of his own men into Brandon Powell, which is completely legal, and that's a huge turnover, giving the ball to the New York Jets at the 22-yard line of the Vikings. Huge, huge error, but I'll tell you, there is a man pointing up at the screens. Jay Ward is saying that shouldn't have been.
I think it comes off of the Jets player, the back of the Jets player.
On the field is that the ball hit number 19 of the Jets first. First touching at that spot, it's Minnesota's ball. Timeout.
It's a good call. It's a good call in the end. Jay Ward, the Vikings special teamer and safety, pointing up at the screens and saying, I didn't get that one. That was Irvin Charles. I thought that was a turnover, but they get a little bit lucky there, Minnesota.
Those are the kinds of breaks that this Jets team will need today, and it hasn't gone their way in that instance. But special teams is going to need to come up big to hold this Vikings team to longer fields so that the Jets defense can really go to work, because unfortunately the Jets offense isn't getting it done early.
You know, it was brilliant watching the range of emotions on Aaron Rodgers' face then. And we've got to give credit to NFL Network, who of course are over in town filming and broadcasting this game. The great Rich Eisen saw him along with Kurt Warner, another great, of course, earlier on. And they are trained now, aren't they, to key in on Aaron Rodgers when something doesn't go according to plan. So Garrett Wilson doesn't make the play. Rodgers does his usual histrionics, eyes to the heavens. As Wilson, then he went off with very much something on his mind to go and find Wilson. And then when he thought he got the ball back, he was bang on animated, rolling in again there as well. Aaron Rodgers is nothing if not completely locked in to this right now. But I completely agree with you, CSW. It's exactly those kind of moments that the Jets need to break their way. What you said to us during the break on radio over on the YouTube channel, looking at that first Vikings drive, you thought this could be another very big half like we saw against Green Bay. Yeah,
definitely. I think the Vikings know how to start fast. We've already seen them drive almost the length of the field, and I think it could easily be a 2-3 score first half if it continues at this rate, because we've had 6 plays of offense from this Jets team. And what the problem that causes is with long drives that this Jets defense is going to have to play, as well as the flight, the international element of it, when it comes to the fourth quarter, you might not be able to mount a comeback, because the Vikings will have learned from their experience with Green Bay. They can't let teams back into the game as they did. They were 28-0 up, and they leaked 28 points in the second half.
You know, Brian Flores is definitely talking to his players after that second half. Right, let's see if the Jets D can step up, if they can hold the Vikings and shut them out on this drive, and quickly as well, give them a bit of time to breathe. We shall see. This feels like already, with 6 minutes of the first quarter remaining on the clock, it's a pivotal phase of the game, Will Gavin.
Indeed, and just some breaking news from the Jets sideline. Jets cornerback Michael Carter, big contract in this offseason. Well, probably, I'd argue, the best nickel corner in the NFL right now, making it the best 3 in the NFL right now. He is doubtful to return to the game with a hamstring. Ashton Davis and Isaiah Oliver seeing some play. So, opening play of the drive. Darnold steps his foot, sends Jefferson in motion from left to right, and it has a little toss crack to Aaron Jones. Picks up maybe 2 yards on the play up the middle, and that'll be 2nd and 8 from the Minnesota 24.
You have to think that Kevin O'Connell is trying to set something up later, because his motion, Justin Jefferson from the left side to the right side, and then run a toss play through the middle to Aaron Jones. Expect to see that again later, but then with some play action off the back of it.
Darnold under centre again, sending Jordan Addison from left to right. Addison in a stack bunch to the right. And Justin Jefferson, Darnold's having to step away from the play and call a check. And you're seeing the Jets defense reacting to that as well. DJ Reed pressing right up to the line, gets contact with Jefferson. It's a big 5-step drop from Darnold. Now steps up into the pocket. He's got room to run. He can run for the first down, makes the first down, and slides just 2 yards past the marker. It opened up for him wide on that side as the stack forced the corners back deep into the field, and that's going to be a Minnesota first down, ball at the 34.
And that's showing that composure, that pedigree, that tutelage that has experienced under Kyle Shanahan, because goes to the line, doesn't like what he sees, calls it audible. The defense swaps players, then he checks out of that and then keeps the ball and able to use his legs to scramble for first down. Very composed, very measured and mature play from Sam Darnold.
He only has 7 rushes for 15 yards on the season so far, almost doubled it on that one, picking up 10 with his legs there. Darnold back under centre now. He's got CJ Ham and Aaron Jones, who puts the ball into Aaron Jones' stomach. And Aaron Jones rumbles through 2 tackles. DJ Reed eventually taking him down at the 40-yard mark, but that's a 6 yards per carry on that one, and that's going to be 2nd and 4.
And that's why the acquisition of Aaron Jones was so important for this Vikings team, because you saw what he was able to do in Green Bay. He's great in the passing game, and he's so strong, it takes more than the first person to bring him down.
4-man front for this Jets team right now, looking to bring some pressure off the right-hand side in the form of Solomon Thomas, as Jefferson motions to that side. Ham is in as a tight end to the right. Darnold in centre, sends Ham in motion and fakes the handoff to Jones. Has time in the pocket, throws over the middle just behind Jefferson, and a blanket coverage from DJ Reed, screaming for some kind of flag there, Justin Jefferson, but the Jets sideline waving him away. I thought that was excellent coverage.
Yeah, Sam Darnold hit hard, taking a while to get up here. You'd hope he's able to continue, but great coverage. I wonder...
I think you think back to Darnold's rookie season and just how difficult he found it, how much stick he got for his behaviour in that, not his behaviour, but his performances in that year. The one thing that always kept me positive on Darnold was he was a guy who never lost the guts, never stopped looking downfield, never stopped looking to make plays, which you could absolutely say was the case there, because he was being, I think it was Chaz Surratt, the linebacker, in on a blitz, who absolutely barrels into him there, and he is down on the field, and he is surrounded by trainers right now, struggling to just see what part of his body he is holding, but a quiet has gone over the stadium. It does look like it's maybe his abs or his ribs, somewhere in and around that area, and yeah, this doesn't look particularly positive for Darnold, though he is up, he is on his feet, and he is making his way off to the sideline. Does that mean we're going to be seeing some Nick Mullins? It wouldn't be the first snaps he's taken this season, Mullins. He did have to come into a game, I think it was against the 49ers, for a couple of downs, but Darnold came back in, but he is being shown to the sideline, and we will keep a very, very close eye on Darnold, who is shook up, his helmet is off, and he is heading over to the bench. I mean, honestly, from what I can see from here, he just looks absolutely winded and gassed in this moment, right? I'm not sure that this is a case of anything more severe at the moment, but yeah, a little bit of a tough one for him. I mean, if you're coming in here, you've got a 3rd and 4 situation, you're running the ball well. Is it too obvious to go Nick Mullins into his running back and just moving the ball that way?
The problem is you want to avoid it just being damage control and play conservative, because that becomes predictable for this defense. So Kevin O'Connell should have some trust in his backup, but obviously this isn't an ideal situation for the Vikings at all, having Sam Darnold off the field. Hopefully he can come back and return to the game. If you run the ball with Aaron Jones, you know what you're getting. If you throw the ball first pass, first quarter for the backup, who probably might not be anticipating to be coming into the game so early, are you risking giving the ball up early?
Right, so we are still waiting on the game to get back underway. They have taken a TV timeout. We are getting some fan make some noise action going on the big screen. If you're here from the UK, make some noise, etc. And there's a big noise for fans here from the USA. Interesting. I think what happened, and I heard a lot of that Minnesota accent while I was travelling through London today. I think quite a few have come over and made their way over from Minneapolis, which is fantastic. Love to see the travel.
Yeah, it's incredible. A truly international game at the moment, isn't it?
Rondé Barber trying to wind up the Jets fans on the sideline. Nick Mullins, he is going to be operating out of the gun. They are spread 5 wide with Aaron Jones out as a wide receiver to the left, Addison to his right, and a bunch stack with 2 tight ends and Justin Jefferson. He's going to throw the ball. He's going to throw the ball down deep. Aaron Jones at the 40-yard line, contacted, but keeps hold of the ball. And I said they should just run it with Nick Mullins on the field. And instead we get a huge completion down to the Jets' 35-yard line.
That's what you call trust and confidence in the depth of your roster, because Nick Mullins comes in first throw. They flex Aaron Jones out to the wide part of the field, and then one-on-one, and he catches it on his head.
Problem is when you get lined up, Quincy Williams is a good coverage linebacker, but if you're going to line him up in that situation where he ends up getting split out wide, that's the matchup you're going to be looking for. Darnold back into the game after that big gain. Ball now 1st and 10 on the 36. With Jones back in the backfield. Tight end and Jefferson to his left, sends another tight end that way. Ball is fumbled, ball is up in the air. It's scooped up by Quincy Williams. Williams down to the 41-yard line, and that's a huge, huge error from the Minnesota Vikings offense just after we praise on them. Ty Chandler into the game for Aaron Jones after that big gain over. And the first turnover of the afternoon goes the way of the New York Jets, who will start 1st and 10, ball on the Vikings 41-yard line as they head down to that end zone and pose for their pictures.
The pendulum of momentum swinging against this Vikings offense. Wow.
I've just dug out Quincy Williams for struggling in coverage against Aaron Jones. He was on that ball like a whippet. I think he heard me from all the way up here in the Godsmack Coons.
They're definitely wired down talkSPORT 2 to the sidelines, and they're playing that back to you now. Before we get back to the action, delighted to say, because there are sporting stars all across the stadium, as there always are at NFL London, UFC fighter Arnold Allen dropping by to say hi to us on talkSPORT.
Man, this is crazy. This atmosphere is mental.
Is this
first
your
game?
first game?
Yeah.
So talk us through, what have you made already at explosive start?
I feel like I travelled a few thousand miles over to America. Like, it's mental. I've just drove an hour down the road. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, for you, compare that to fighting in front of 20,000 fans in Manchester at 4 in the morning. That's another case of a US product coming over here and playing beautifully with the fans.
This is different level. Like, this is crazy. I've watched NFL on TV, obviously, but like watching it live is a whole different gravy. You know, it's I watch it. It's like a slow-paced game, but being here live, it's like non-stop action.
It has been a relentless first half. That is for sure. And I think we've been talking about, and you're resplendent in Vikings gear as well. Do you have a team? Have you taken the Vikings?
I've just literally picked one today, and I'm Vikings. The Vikings are my team. I'm all in.
It's a decent choice so far, given their start to the season. But we were, looking around, and it is 70-80% purple. It feels
amazing.
like a Vikings home game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I come out, I see the big drum. They got the longhorn and everything going on. That's so cool.
With the great Jared Allen, it's really interesting to see as well a play like that, because we were talking about, as we were watching it unfurl, the hit to Sam Darnold, and as soon as he went down, you could see him like reaching to his ribs.
He looked in a bad way.
And straight back in, a play or two later.
That's crazy. He was down bad, and I guess it ain't like our football, Players go down for a minute, you're a bit dubious, but with this, they go down, they're hurt.
So I asked you about Manchester. Giga Chikadze, great comeback victory for you personally. So what next now for Arnold Allen?
So I'm healing the injury from that fight now. I was hoping to get out December, but we'll see if we get the wheels turning, get back to sparring. I have the first sparring this week, so it went well. So yeah, hopefully December, January, we'll see what we'll get. Hopefully something top 5. I want to get back in that title picture and sort of get up there.
Felt like you were right around there until the Max Holloway bout, and I think there's never any shame in losing to someone like Max Holloway, right? But I think getting a couple of wins under the belt from here, has to be the aim.
Yeah, that's it. Get back in there. Try and get that. If he wins the title, the goal is to get the rematch with Max and get back in there. That's it.
Arnold, great to see you. Thanks very much indeed for dropping by. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Hey, Arnold can stay if he wants and get involved in any play calling if he wants.
Love it. Let's do it.
Aaron Rodgers, short step drop, finds Garrett Wilson for about a 4 or 5 yard gain. He's hit hard in the stomach by Byron Murphy Jr. Goes down right around the 38-yard line. Another short 4-yard gain to Garrett Wilson on 3rd down. Feels very similar to the last start of the drive, Christian.
It does. I think they're trying to get him some touches early. He's been targeted over 3 times already this game. We're trying to get some chemistry, build some momentum, but the good part of this drive is the fact that they've got a short field.
So, Rodgers playing under centre. He does have Wilson as a sole receiver out to that left-hand side, covered by Stephon Gilmore. Back in the backfield is Allen has come into the game, and he does fake it to Allen. Steps back, drops, time in the pocket, finds a receiver out to the right. Lazard bubbles and puts the ball on the ground. It was right into the guts of Alan Lazard, but fantastic coverage out on that side. Cam Byron is the man who ends up making the challenge. Should he have held that?
Aaron Rodgers was not really wanting to throw that ball, but Alan Lazard got friendly and came back to his quarterback. That's definitely a catchable ball and a perfect throw by Aaron Rodgers. His man just has to come down with it, but great coverage by the Vikings.
Big noise from the Vikings fans on 3rd and 6, 2:30 left in the first quarter. Vikings lead 3-0. Jets need something from this drive. Rodgers now in the gun. Breece Hall alongside him. 3 receivers to his right, 1 to the left is Alan Lazard. Takes the ball, high snap, and it's straight into the arms of the defender. Going back the other way, down to the 40, down to the 35, the 30, the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Andrew Van Ginkel of the Minnesota Vikings takes that one, an absolutely huge 60-plus yards to the house. And man, does he have a tendency to jump that snap and make those big plays, Christian.
And we've seen it before this season, the exact same play. Bring 8 on the line, show pressure, drop the defensive lineman out into the backfield. He comes up with interception. This is why he's the perfect player for Brian Flores' scheme. Good hands, high IQ, knows his responsibility, and can drop into coverage and produce that masterclass.
Off the back of the Jets turnover, it's technically another 3 and out for the Jets, but the interception goes the other way. Van Ginkel with the score and stepping up to take the kick to make it a 10-0 game. Will Ricard puts it right through the uprights for the extra point. And with 2:18 left in the first quarter, the Minnesota Vikings are absolutely rolling. Sensational stuff, Nat.
It really is. Will Ricard, you mentioned, Minnesota Vikings kicker. Anthony Allen, UFC fighter, is alongside us here on talkSPORT. He was signed up to play American football because his dad wanted to improve his football. He is now inside Tottenham Stadium taking care of business. Yeah, playing football.
That's crazy.
It's a great story. So this is your first live game. When did you first find the NFL? How did you find it?
Always watching like the highlights and stuff when I was a kid. Just phenomenal athletes, really. Like, you just see the 100-meter sprints they do, the gym work they do, the hits they have. It's insane. And being pitch side and being next to the athletes down by the Jets, just crazy to see the guys in person.
But on that very point, Andrew Van Ginkel there, 6'4", I'm going to tell you his listed weight. I swear he's bigger than this. 242 pounds.
Mental.
Not only makes a play that athletic, but then sprints the ball 60 yards back the other way. Like, I mean, in UFC terms, he'd be what, heavyweight?
Yeah.
And he's making plays like that. It's absolutely unreal.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense when you see them.
This is it. Like the first time I remember being sideline, all those years ago, having covered the game for a long time, but the first game I was at, right by the players, you have no idea until you're up close.
Yeah, I say we're being pitch side. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense that this guy can sprint that fast.
It shouldn't be happening, but it is. And what a play for the Minnesota Vikings. It looked like it handed the momentum back to the New York Jets. And Aaron Rodgers, we've been talking about it all game long, pre-game as well, how frustrated he's been getting with his receivers already this season. And today is a real example of Rodgers losing his patience. And you can kind of understand why.
Yeah, just threw the ball away, made a big mistake, cost him a touchdown.
Huge stuff. Big play for the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm going to keep going back to the UFC with Arnold very briefly. Just one last one. So back in training, you're looking at December, January.
Yeah.
You talked about those top 5 guys. Who are you targeting? Who do you want to get in the octagon?
Yeah, after the Giga fight, the first guy I asked for was Yair Rodriguez. So I want to fight someone top 5. I want to fight up the rankings, and I think that's the guy. Get that fight, get that win. I think that puts me back in the title picture.
Styles make fights. Do you think you match up to him well?
Yeah, I think the best thing I could do is to adapt my style to other guys. So I think I adapt pretty well to any style, but I think this suits me.
Love that, because there'll be a lot of UFC fans out there amongst the NFL fan base.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Look, if we're talking about, by the way, unbelievable athletic moments, there's going to be so much focus on that Andrew Van Ginkel return.
Yeah.
Just watch back the Quincy Williams fumble and near return of his own, nearly taking that one to the house. Do you know who got in and made the tackle on him? Sam Darnold.
There you go.
Just
with
come
the
off the field with the rib injury.
That's a couple more ribs gone probably with that tackle, but hey,
crazy.
fair play getting stuck in.
It's mental he's back on the pitch.
It is. Let's see how he handles the next drive. Of course, the Jets have to respond quite quickly here. Now in a 10-point hole. The first quarter was racing by. It slowed down the pace a little bit, but this is going to be a critical phase of the game for Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. And he'd argue, given the run they've got over the next month and the teams they've got, a critical stage of their season. Will.
If you're watching on the YouTube stream, lovely to meet you, mate. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, you'll have just seen me taking my jacket off because it is getting baking in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as things heat up, and the return comes back out to the 25. He's managed to break through down to the 30-yard line, and the Jets will start from around their own 31 this next drive for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a man who, as a rule, is incredibly... Let's try and find the best way to say this. I would say interception adverse, Christian Scotland-Williamson, because he doesn't throw a lot of them. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, but he tends to play safe. That's why. It's not that he's not throwing those balls and getting lucky. That was just an incredible defensive play, I thought.
Schematically incredible. Van Ginkel's third pick 6 of his career from similar circumstances, second of this season. And so it was just a good call from Brian Flores with the man to execute.
Rodgers under centre, sends a man. Alan Lazard in motion from right to left. It goes into the gut of Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen makes a man miss. Picks up maybe 2 yards on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 8 from the 32. This run game really needs to get going for the Jets if they're going to have any chance of getting back into this game early doors.
Definitely, especially when you think there's 2 minutes left of the first quarter. They're 10-0 down. They haven't put a drive together. They've had about 7 offensive plays that haven't gone to plan, and they've thrown a pick 6. They need to get something going early now.
Running off the right side of that offensive line with rookie Ola Fashanu, an absolute mountain of a man. You'd think between the two of them they'd be able to pick up some extra yardage. It's a high snap, fakes handoff. Rodgers instead checks the ball down to Braylon Allen, and it's in and out of Allen's hands. And Rodgers throws his arms up in the air, throws his eyes to the sky. Execution proving a real problem for the Jets offense right now.
And this is when you start to look at body language, especially with Aaron Rodgers. His trust, his faith, his confidence. That was a basic screen pass that wasn't able to be completed. Why would he think he'd have any confidence of completing anything downfield? Especially when you consider the miscue earlier with Garrett Wilson when he had to flip his hips. This is not looking good. The confidence and the momentum is definitely not with the Jets team.
0 of 3 on 3rd down so far. 3rd and long here. 3rd and 8. The Vikings showing just 4 at the line of scrimmage. They bring just 4. Rodgers will have time to find a man over the middle and throws another interception over the head of Alan Lazard and right into the waiting arms of the cornerback Cameron Bynum, playing through free safety. Absolutely shocking throw from Aaron Rodgers, having to try and force a play. And yet again, we're seeing a celebration in the end zone for the Vikings defense.
You have to wonder, Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreats. In that moment, he wasn't able to put the last play behind him, tried to force it into a hole that wasn't there. And this is where I go back to saying the confidence, the trust isn't there. He's not able to put it in the spots he usually likes to. Instead, you have to think gunslinger mentality. He went for a long one over the middle. That's 2 back-to-back drives with interceptions. That's 3 interceptions on the season when he only had 1 going into this game.
2nd interception of the year for Cam Bynum, the free safety out of Cal, 4th year man. Big play for him, and the Vikings will start their drive from their 43 with Darnold under centre. He's going to put the ball to Aaron Jones behind him. Jones breaks 1 tackle again, gets to the 2nd level, ends up being taken down at the 2nd level by Chuck Clark, but getting a big gain on 1st down. That's going to be 2nd and 3 from right about the 50.
And they look like going no huddle, trying to speed this up a bit, trying to catch this Jets defense unawares.
Yeah, Darnold under centre again and again, handing the ball to Jones. Jones makes 1 cut to the right, out towards the 1st down marker. He is taken down by Jermaine Sherwood, and I think they're going to call that about half a yard short. 3rd and 1 from the 47, but a very short one, setting up for a potential quarterback sneak. All of the receivers tight in on the formation. Do they run something tricky here? No, they just run the ball right up the middle, and Sam Darnold makes it another 1st down for the Minnesota Vikings out into Jets territory.
And this is where that complementary football comes into it, because the defense is coming up with turnovers. This offense is able to play with pace and go no huddle, get to the line quickly when the Jets defense has just hit the field.
Darnold in the gun now, really mixing up his positions to open plays. Jones alongside him sends a man from right to left in Jalen Naylor. So important to this offense so far. That looked like a man went early on the right-hand side of that offensive line. They blow the play dead. Darnold throwing the ball into the ground angrily. Looks like it's going to be on possibly Brian O'Neill. Calling it on the Jets. It's going against the New York Jets defense. Javon Kinlaw jumps across the line, and that's going to make it a 1st and 5 to Minnesota. Yeah, he just went a little bit early, Kinlaw there. And they're now going to get the ball just outside the New York Jets 40.
Interesting that they blew it dead instead of letting him have the free play. I don't think there was anyone unabated to the quarterback, so I think that's what Kevin O'Connell was protesting on the sideline.
Yeah, when you're talking about having the king of the free play on the other side of the ball in Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure the Vikings not happy to not get an opportunity to at least make that play. And there won't be another play before the end of the 1st quarter. As with 1st and 5, the ball on the 40, the Minnesota Vikings driving 10-0 up on the New York Jets. You're listening to live and exclusive coverage of the first London International Series game of the season right here on talkSPORT 2.
I think the Jets are done mentally.
That was breathless.
Over early.
Absolutely.
That was good. Good quarter, though.
Yeah, great quarter.
That was fun.
Great job, fellas. Sounded great.
Yeah.
I think I might have a rib injury of my own. I'm not sure if I would have been crashing down and tackling Quincy Williams if I was Sam Darnold.
Yeah, you would. Your adrenaline would have kicked in.
I need it to. Oh, you bugger. Don't forget, if you are listening and watching online via the talkSPORT Endzone YouTube page, we are getting a few people getting in. Scott White was asking about the Chandler fumble and the rib injury to Darnold. Darnold very much back in the game. Mr. Fulton Moraz says, me and my girlfriend Caitlin are going to be getting engaged if the Vikings win.
Wow.
Congratulations.
It's looking good so far, Caitlin. I think if that's what Caitlin wants, I'm assuming she does. So that's a good yeah, are we going to call that now? I mean, book the wedding venue now, I think.
Start looking at dates.
Put the ring on the finger. Put it on the finger.
We've also got looking down JT getting in touch saying a pick six, it couldn't happen to a nicer quarterback. It's fair to say Aaron Rodgers, divisive.
He is. He's a fascinating... I love the fact Aaron Rodgers is in the NFL, is in our galaxy, because he is a fascinating character. I mean, here's a guy who is one of the great players of his generation and rocks up and guest presents Jeopardy, which in context is a shiny floors Saturday night kind of game show. You couldn't make that stuff up. You mentioned his retreats. I mean, when you're seeing it in full effect right now, the eyebrow raising, unlike putting his arm, around his young receivers like a vet should and lifting them up. He's definitely not that guy, but he's a fascinating player, and I love the fact he's in the NFL.
We'll talk about it a bit more coming up shortly. But keep lights to the screen.
Welcome back to NFL Live from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 10-0 after the first quarter. Vikings over the Jets. And the numbers tell you anything. No passing first downs, no rushing first downs. Third down efficiency for the Jets. 0 of 4. 19 total yards. It has been anemic and then some from Aaron Rodgers in the Jets offense. Can they change things up and dial things up? Well, they've got to let their D do the job again. First of all, as we get back to the action with Will Gavin and Christian Scott and Williamson.
Sloppy first quarter. Can the Vikings execute here? Darnold under centre, 1st and 5 from the 40. Hands the ball off to Ty Chandler, giving him another opportunity after his earlier fumble, and he's going to be taken down for about a 1-yard loss. Gang tackled off to the left-hand side there. Jamie and Sherwood in on it, in for the injured CJ Mosley. Also in on that tackle, Tack McKinley, the former Atlanta Falcon. Setting themselves up for a 2nd and 6 from the 41. From the Vikings, we've already had 3 fumbles in this game, 2 interceptions, both thrown by Aaron Rodgers. We need to see a little bit cleaner football, please, on a Sunday morning out stateside. Sam Darnold under centre, sending Jordan Addison from right to left. Sorry, he's in the gun. Catches the ball right around that NFL logo. He's got a man coming around the outside on a delayed blitz and taken to the ground by Isaiah Oliver in at nickel corner for the injured player for the New York Jets, Michael Carter. Yeah, that's who it is. And an absolutely huge sack of Sam Darnold is going to set them back to a 3rd and 11. They're going to try and hurry this one up nice and quickly. It is Ty Chandler still back in the backfield alongside Darnold. Darnold is in the gun, has 3 receivers to his left. Justin Jefferson lined up 1-on-1 with Sauce Gardner. Jefferson over Gardner would be the direction everyone in the stadium would love to see this ball come. And Darnold looks to the left his formation, then heads back to the right. It is a deep shot, looking for Jefferson. Flags in the area of the play. Ball goes dead. Jefferson is absolutely livid, and that is going to be holding against the New York Jets.
The quarterback is in the pocket. Legal contact on the defense, number 1. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
A huge opportunity for the New York Jets to get a stop with the Vikings pushed out of field goal range, and instead they'll pick up 5 yards and a first down. The Vikings line weren't sure what had been called there. They were moving all the way down to the spot of the foul. They thought they had some pass interference. No, get back up the field, boys. It's only a 5 yards, but it is crucially an automatic first down for the Minnesota Vikings. Will Gavin, Christian Scotland Williamson alongside me here on talkSPORT 2. Don't forget you can check us out on the talkSPORT Endzone YouTube channel as well if you want to watch along. Darnold in the gun, 1st and 10 from the 42, essentially resetting this drive off that penalty. Gives it to Ty Chandler, who rumbles up the middle for about a 5-yard gain. Maybe just 4 they're going to give him. He's out to the 42-yard line, and that's just keeping ahead of the chains, keeping the ball moving, Christian.
And this is where the Jets defense line up in cover 2, and what they always say is run them out of the coverage. So if they're going to sit too deep, you're going to run them in the front.
Addison in motion. The Vikings moving a lot pre-snap in this game. It's Darnold calling a check after watching the motion. He likes something that he saw from the middle of that defence and from Jamie Sherwood, and he has called a check. That check was to the run to Ty Chandler off the left tackle and around the 34-yard line. That's going to give them 3rd and 2. Smart play from Sam Darnold, seeing what the defence were giving him and just taking the yardage.
Exactly the same coverage as the one before. So cover 2, too deep. That means the box is light. They had a pass play call, which clearly wasn't good into that coverage. He uses his confidence to change out of that, run an effective run play. And the thing is, because the defence for the Vikings is playing so well, they can be patient and run the football.
Michael Clemens off that right side, eventually making the tackle, but giving up big yardage beforehand. They've been able to run on him and Quinnen Williams on that right-hand side so far. Darnold in the gun this time. He'll just take a straight drop on 3rd and 2. Looking out to Jefferson on this left-hand side. Contact to Jefferson, but the ball goes incomplete. Fantastic coverage on the play from the safety, Tony Adams, and that is going to be... It's going to be a Vikings punt. The offense possibly staying out on the field. A call coming in from that side. The Vikings offense are staying out on the field for the 4th and short from the 33-yard line. Love this call.
That's what we like to see. That sticky coverage meant that incompletion, Justin couldn't come down with it. Perhaps Darnold could have given him some more space with that ball. But 4th and short, come out and empty. Expect quick slants to the middle.
Jefferson 6 targets today, just 3 catches, and they have gone for a 5 wide, as Christian says. Darnold in the gun with a 3-step drop, has Munt over the middle. Instead, he's going to go for it all. He's going to go for it deep to Jordan Addison. Loads of contact down there. Desperation for flags, but instead DJ Reed wheels away, and the New York Jets will get a stop on 4th down. And boy, do the New York Jets defense need that. Aaron Rodgers will be taking over from his own 33-yard line.
Good aggressive play calling, though. Jordan Addison had to play defense and make sure he didn't come down with interception, but that would have effectively been like a punt anyway. But I feel like Kevin O'Connell trusts his defense. They've been able to come up with 2 interceptions already, 1 touchdown on the defensive side of the ball. So go aggressive. Why not play with confidence this early?
As they are setting up for the change of possession, we do get the experience Kissimmee, Florida Kiss Me cam. Christian, if they show us on the big screen, what's your intentions for me?
I will be disappearing very quickly like Homer Simpson into the bushes, my friend.
I'm absolutely heartbroken that is the case. But do you know what? Each onto their own, my friend. Each onto their own. If you are not able to be here to enjoy the live experience from this game, do come and get involved on our talkSPORT YouTube page dedicated to the NFL, talkSPORT Endzone. Make sure to like and subscribe. Questions over whether we can show some field action from Dan Mann and Y-Phone. Fortunately, because this is radio coverage, this is a watch-along. We do it from up here in the box. We get big-name guests coming along. UFC fighter Ian Gary is on his way momentarily. We're going to have some footballers coming up later, hopefully some Vikings legends as well. So come out and check out on there. You'll see the clips going up on YouTube as well. Exclusive interviews on the channel from this week with Harrison Phillips, with Braylon Allen, with a bunch of those New York Jets players as well. So well worth going out and checking out the fantastic content the team put out there, and coming and seeing our beautiful faces, Nat Coons, as we broadcast live from London.
Well, exactly. I mean, well, that's the most compelling reason of all, surely. Where are we on the over-under now of plugs for the YouTube channel? I'm trying to work that out. Oh, we keep big count.
We're getting close.
It was absolutely bang on, though. You mentioned some of the big stars in the house, Will Gavin. It is great to see UFC fighter Ian Gary alongside us. Tell us more about your love of the NFL, because it goes back a few years, you were telling me.
Yeah, I've a massive love for NFL. I started off, I said I wanted to commit to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch a couple of years of highlights of all the college football. And then I'm going to follow those guys through the combine and then follow them into their teams. And so, like, for example, I've got Jetta here. I watched so much of him, Burrow, and Chase.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins in the backfield for LSU. So now I'm here. I'm supporting him big time with the matchup against Sauce today.
I love that. That is unusual. You know, not often it's the other way around. You find the
100%.
NFL first and then you move to college, and to follow the player's trajectory as well. We were talking about Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the NFL for you?
I think you have to give it to him at the moment. He's constantly getting open. He's doing it against the best guys in the division, in the league. Like, week in, week out, he's constantly doing it. He's putting up points on the board. He's moving the chains, and he's doing what he needs to do.
1st and 10 Jets, high snap again. Aaron Rodgers putting the ball into the gut of Breece Hall, and they get maybe a yard on the play off the left tackle there. Don't worry, we'll be back with you, Ian. But if you want to get involved at any point with the coach, I'm not going to tell you not to. So jump in if you want to get involved at any point.
100%.
2nd and 9, ball on the 35, just not getting ahead of the sticks. And Rodgers is looking to the sideline, looking to his play caller, screaming at Nathaniel Hackett to get the play in. There is dysfunction left, right and centre with this Jets team right now. Aaron Rodgers is under centre. Breece Hall behind him. He's got Alan Lazard to the right. That's where he's looking initially. Instead, goes to the check down to Hall. Hall out to the 40-yard line. Gang tackled there around the 40-yard line. In on the tackle, Camus Gouget-Hill and Blake Cashman. And that's a nice pickup on 2nd down. Gives them a 3rd and 3. And might we actually see the rarest of rarities, a New York Jets 1st down gained on offense?
Oh, we hope so, to make it at least a competitive game. When things are going wrong, the play call's not coming in from the sideline. Nice and composed decision to take the check down, easy yards, 5 yards, keep ahead of the chains, but make it manageable distances.
Rodgers is going to start in the gun on this drive. Mike Williams to his left, the tight end, and Alan Lazard to his right. He's got 2 running backs in behind him, one of them being Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall the other, takes the straight drop, goes over the middle, big completion, out to the 35-yard line, finds his tight end, Tyler Conklin, down into Vikings territory. And for the first time today, I get to say, that's a New York Jets 1st down.
And that's what you love to see as a former tight end. 2 high safeties, take the seam, bend it a little bit, beat the middle linebacker, and Aaron Rodgers drops it right in the bucket.
We talked about it pre-game. It is an area that this much vaunted Brian Flores defense can be picked on, is over the middle. And finally, we see Rodgers finding a man on there, back-to-back snaps. Braylon Allen in alongside him as he sits in the gun for this snap. Lazard out to the right. No Garrett Wilson in on this play. He's got time in the pocket. He's rushed and ends up just having to throw the ball away. There is a tight end out in that direction in Jeremy Rucker. He did have a player absolutely barreling down on him in the form of the former Texan Jonathan Grenard, but he managed to get the ball away, and that will be a 2nd and 10 from the 34. Jonathan Grenard, by the way, they love to line him up over who they consider the weakest offensive lineman. I haven't seen him not up against the rookie Olu Fashanu all day so far. Like, Brian Flores knows how to pick on a man.
It's a game of matchups, that's for sure.
Right, this is going to be from the 34-yard line, taking a bit of time to get this play call in. Wilson, after a playoff, is back out onto the field. He is to the left. Alan Lazard alongside him, out to the right, 2 receivers on that side. Rodgers goes to that side, finds a man for a short yardage gain, out to about the 26-yard line. That's going to give them 3rd and 1 with the quick completion to Mike Williams.
And that's where the experience of Aaron Rodgers, recognise blitz, recognise zone. If it's zone, just find the easy completion where he's not going for the big throws. And this is what we were saying before. There's nothing deep. There's no deep threats. It's all 5 yards, 6 yards, and then trying to move the chains.
Happy to see him. Grip it and rip it. I know you're the great Aaron Rodgers, but don't be afraid to just get it out in under 2 seconds and find your open man. That's how you beat this Vikings defense. It will be Rodgers under centre. He's got Stacks to his left. Goes into the gut of Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen doesn't make it to the 1st down marker. He's going to be marked about half a yard short. When you have a running back who sits in at 6'1" and 235 pounds, that's exactly the situation you want him for. And instead, no gain.
Not at all. Very stout in the middle of that Vikings defense. They knew they wanted to run the ball because they haven't been able to do anything in the air. So they're able to sell out on the run.
They're calling it 4th and 2 on the screens. It's a 4th and 1 from where I can see the down marker. Maybe a long 1, a short 2. And the offense, unsurprisingly, down 10-0 in this game, out on the field. Huge play for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets offense. Braylon Allen in behind him. Alan Lazard, trusty to the left. He puts it into the gut, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen again contacted behind the line of scrimmage. Dallas Turner ripping off the right-hand side for the Vikings. And for the 2nd straight drive, a turnover on downs. The Vikings remain up 10-0. The Jets remain pointless.
That was just a bad play call into that defensive front, because you're expecting the tight end to come across the backfield and block the edge rusher, who's able to just get a running start straight at the running back. So you shouldn't call that into that defense.
Dallas Turner with a huge play, but Nat Coombs still here with a great man, Ian Gary.
Ian Gary, so we're watching this in this ferocious Minnesota defense. The Vikings coming into this game 4-0, one of the best in show so far. Who else have you got your eye on? Who else in the first quarter of the season do you think, all right, they might have a deep playoff run this year?
I mean, you obviously have to look at the Kansas City Chiefs, but they've been plagued with injuries now. You know, Hollywood Brown, that horrible injury to Rashee Rice. But I feel like they're the type of team that last year they showed that they can do it. Now they got to go, right, Kelsey, put the team on your back. They've got another young tight end there who can still do it. I feel like they're just able to make big plays and
And
big
the
moments.
fact they're 4-0 and their offense isn't shining
Exactly.
right now is.
I feel like you've got Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. You know, that's a nightmare for any team to come up against offensively. Last week, you know, Derrick Henry getting 199 yards against the Buffalo defense. That's what they need to do. They need to give him a full head of steam, let him pick it up and just go, take this, please.
And you were saying this about the Jets, watching them, saying, why aren't they running it more?
When I look at a team like the Jets and they're failing to put it over the middle, you've got two elite running backs. You've got Breece Hall and you've got Breenan Allen. Breenan Allen's a monstrous man. I was looking at him down on the sideline. He's huge.
Big fella.
Give it to them on the first down, give it to him on the second down, and then give Aaron Rodgers, the man who makes all the money, go make him do his thing.
We need Ian Gary to come along every week.
Take the steam off his back.
Mate, it's word for word what I said pre-game. You have to win the early downs here.
100%.
You have to give yourself second and short, third and short.
100%.
Otherwise, Brian Flores is just going to throw every exotic look in his playbook at you.
And the schemes that the Vikings have is just so elaborate. They're so well done. They're so smart. When you've got two top running backs, I feel like what we should see from the Jets is what the Detroit Lions are doing well. They've got Jameer. They've got David Montgomery. They know how to pound the rock. They know how to make these plays. Turn those two boys into it. You said it, 6'1", 230 pounds. Run that ball. Try stop them. And then when you want a bit of flair, put in Breece Hall.
And the thing is, look at how Rodgers, how frustrated he is with his receivers. Why isn't he leaning into that? You'd figure that would be...
I mean... You wouldn't know. Do you know what I mean? When you look at it, they've got such a good secondary, so they know they can make up for it if they're down and or if they're winning. So for me, it would be run it, and take over that way.
Sam Darnold will start from under centre, 1st and 10 from the 26. The Vikings up 10-0 here in London. 8:46 left in the second quarter. Fake handoff. Darnold with plenty of time in the pocket. Eventually is contacted. Looks at Jordan Addison downfield, but DJ Reed, who is having himself an afternoon blanket coverage, and that'll be 2nd and 10.
And what's good is Sam Darnold's the play calling is reacting to the coverage as well. When it's single high and they're rolling the coverage, even though it looks at too high pre-snap, he's able to identify it, but the coverage just... It's so sticky, there's no separation.
Unbelievable. And actually, that back end for the Jets have been really saving so far. I know we've had Will McDonald get home for a sack, but thus far in this game, we're not seeing them get to the quarterback often enough. Darnold in the gun this time sends a receiver from left to right. Looking at how that moves the offense, they look like they are defense. They look like they're showing man. Time again in the pocket. Time over the top for Justin Jefferson. Out at the 50-yard line, down to the 53. Finally tackled out of bounds by Isaiah Oliver, but a huge gain to Justin Jefferson. And he might not have had the biggest day so far. Those hands haven't quite been what we expect from Justin Jefferson. But if you let a man like that get open, you know he's making a big gain.
Interesting there because the pre-snap motion actually confused the Jets defense. And number 84 for the Vikings, Josh Oliver, was wide open on the left side, but obviously they go for the trusted Justin Jefferson on the right who tries to make a play, but there was more meat on that bone.
Yeah, I think actually he looked to step out of bounds early.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Or try a spin move and get an extra
Look at me
few
digging
yards.
out. Look at me digging out Justin Jefferson. Right, crack toss to Ty Chandler. He's going to find some space on the outside. Chandler with loads on the outside. A block upfield all the way out to the 20, down to the 15-yard line, and eventually brought down by the New York Jets' Chaz Surratt. But what an absolute bulldozer of a block from Brian O'Neill. Oh. Absolutely devastating. That huge play for Ty Chandler, ruled out, flagged down on the field. I was so excited to talk about the right tackle, Brian O'Neill, running down that sideline faster than we saw Andrew Van Ginkel go earlier, and yet it gets called back for a 5-yard play. Ian Gary's with us as well, of course.
I literally was just saying it there. I want to see a run-heavy game when you've got such a offensive threat that is Justin Jefferson, you've got Jordan Addison, you've got all these guys, and they're slinging at the moment, and they're doing such accurate passes against a secondary like the New York Jets. You need to see Aaron Jones have a field day, and then Ty Chandler gets the ball and nearly goes for 40 yards. I literally couldn't have said it anymore.
Right on cue.
Darnold under centre is Ty Chandler in again, and he has got lots of time in the pocket, finds his check down to his right hand side, and eventually barreling out of bounds on that right hand side. The check down goes to Myles Gaskin, the former Philadelphia Eagle, into the game. Aaron Jones' return, by the way, is questionable after he went out on the 4-and-out drive, and so being able to get play from Aaron, being able to get play from Tyson Chandler, being able to get play from a guy like Myles Gaskin is huge for this team. That gets them from what was a 1st and 15 down to a 2nd and 4, and they'll get out of the huddle nice and quickly with Ty Chandler alongside Darnold in the gun. Jefferson split right, Addison split left, 2 receivers inside as well. The ball goes to Ty Chandler up past the 40 down to the 36-yard line, and that will be another Minnesota Vikings first down.
And what you're seeing is this team isn't panicking. Even with the penalty, they know that they can break off big runs against this Jets defense. But what has been incredible is Sam Darnold's composure and patience, but also being able to read the coverage of the defense. So when it is single high or when it is too high, being able to run the ball on the weak side at the right time.
By the way, trust a UFC man to be like, oh, I want a ground and pound game. When
Collisions.
we've got players like Justin Jefferson out here. I mean, it's my kind of football as well, but
If we wanted to see it that way, Jetta would stick this in the end zone now and go for that first round knockout.
here we go. Sam Darnold instead gives the ball to Ty Chandler, who makes it for another 3-4 yard gain out to the 31-yard line, just keeping ahead of the sticks, ahead of the downs, and that's going to be a 2nd and 5 from the 31.
I think one of the differences you're seeing between the 2 run games is the yards before initial contact, where the Minnesota Vikings offensive line is able to push the Jets defense off the ball and give the running back some space.
Darnold said to CJ Ham was split out as an X receiver briefly there. Kevin O'Connell, I like your weird play calling. That might have been a bit much. Justin Jefferson is now the X receiver. CJ Ham comes inside. He's got Addison to his right. Darnold under center. Fakes the handoff. Has some time. Pressure finally coming off that left-hand side. But he looks to Jefferson. And a huge play from DJ Reed. But a flag on the play. And that's going to be pass interference against the New York Jets. I thought that was a sensational bang-bang play from Reed. The referees did not agree.
Reed's having a day, man.
DJ Reed having a deep conversation out on that sideline with the official, but as you heard from Scott Novak, there is a little bit of early contact and a little bit of a pull. You could argue that doesn't affect the end of the play.
I thought it was a bit of tit for tat. Justin Jefferson had his arms extended as well, but I think it was the late grab as he's breaking out to the left.
So, huge moment that then. Huge penalty against this New York Jets defense, who have been as stout as they possibly can against the Vikings. No offensive touchdowns yet in this game, but Darnold is going to get 1st and 10 from the 13 under center, sends Jalen Naylor in motion. He has Jefferson against Sauce Gardner to his right. He's got a back in the backfield, and it does go to Myles Gaskin, who gets maybe 2-3 yards off the edge. Nice tackle coming in from, I have to say, quite a performance thus far from Isaiah Oliver, getting up and making that tackle in the nickel corner position, and that's going to only get back to the line of scrimmage and remain 2nd and 10 from the 13.
Yeah, Sam Darnold having a pass play dialed up and then has to call an audible to check out of that, and then very stout defense. It's red zone defense. The field compresses, so there's not much open.
This time he's going to sit in the gun. He's got Gaskin alongside him, 2 receivers right, and Naylor and Addison, 1 receiver left. It's unsurprisingly Justin Jefferson. Jefferson one-on-one against Sauce. He looks to Jefferson one-on-one against Sauce, and he goes out of bounds right at the pylon, but there is a flag on the field.
Holding.
They're going to call it holding. I've got to say, that pass is so far behind him. They're calling it pass interference.
Pass interference. Spot foul. Wow.
That is going to go all the way down to the 2-yard line. Sauce Gardner contacting Jefferson with the ball in the air. I think there's a really strong argument that is uncatchable. It's so far behind him. But it doesn't matter. The Vikings 10-0 up, 4:49 left in this second quarter, have 1st and goal for the first time today from the 2-yard line. Taking some time to get this play call in. The Jets, unsurprisingly, lining up in goal line defense. Darnold in the gun. He's actually got Addison as the running back alongside him. Looks to that side. Flag on the play. DJ Reed absolutely blanketing his man again. And Sauce Gardner very nearly picking it off. But there will be a flag on the play. And considering the play continued, it's going false start against the offense. They let the play out.
Legal formation on the offense.
Okay. That's poor from me, Christian. Misread of the hand signals from Scott Novak. That's a slap on the wrist for Will Gavin.
Was that tackle off the line?
4:46 on the game clock. 4:46.
They've absolutely loved calling that this year. And a loss of 5 yards puts them to 1st and goal from the 7. Now, at least they do get the down back, but they've made it a little more difficult on themselves, or you could argue, opened up the playbook.
Yeah.
Johnny Munt to the right of the line. Jordan Addison splits out wide right. Jefferson to the left. CJ Ham in as the fullback with Ty Chandler in to run the ball. Ham goes from left to right. Ball goes to Chandler. Running behind Ham. Gets about 4 yards on the play. Down to the New York Jets 3-yard line, and that's going to be second and goal from around about the 3.5 yard line. This drive so far, 6 plays, 67 yards, 4 minutes off the clock as we are just 4 minutes 28 from the end of the first half. A half which could see the Vikings about to take a 3-score lead with a touchdown here. Can the Jets restrict them to a field goal or maybe even another turnover on the day? Darnold in the gun, Ty Chandler with him again. Addison right, trips receivers to his left, but Johnny Munt moves across the formation from left to right. Some confusion from the Jets defense as they call across it. Jefferson, back corner of the end zone, thrown for Jefferson, but we do see another flag on the play. This drive has been laundry heavy, Christian.
What they've done well, though, is they've got Justin Jefferson going from the point on the bunch, running across the field from left to right, trying to hit that back pylon on the right side.
Holding. Defense number 1. Half the distance of the ball and an automatic.
And this box office matchup, Sauce Gardner, Justin Jefferson, is causing a lot of problems.
Sauce Gardner doesn't generally travel with a guy. Has had a few snaps where he's played the opposite side of the formation he normally would. And interestingly, on this now first and goal back at the 2 again, Jefferson is out of the game. They're running 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, 2 receivers to the right. Darnold under centre. They send Naylor from right to left. Run it up the gut with C.J. Ham. And the first offensive touchdown of the afternoon at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium goes to the barrel of a fullback as the Minnesota Vikings take a 3-score lead, 16-0 with the extra point to follow.
Simple and effective. Use the fullback, run the ball, short yardage. You've tried to pass it twice. Go back to the ground game. It's been effective.
Will Rijkaard 100% on the season so far, stepping up for the extra point. Andrew DePaula will snap the ball. Ryan Wright to hold. Ball's down, kick is up. Kick is right through those uprights. And we have a 17-0 game. The Vikings leading the New York Jets. I think that maybe betrays the opportunities the Jets have had. The turnovers have had such a huge part of this game. But with 3:58 left in the quarter, Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett, the ball is in your court to make something happen.
And Ian, Gary, we were talking at the top of the show pre-game about the significance of this game for the Jets because their run-in over the next month is brutal.
Yeah.
If they go back home, back to the Big Apple 2 and 3, particularly if they go down like this, and we know what kind of a media bubble we see in New York as well,
100%.
I mean, their season could implode.
I mean, I was talking to Gary Vaynerchuk before the show today, before we came here, and I was saying to him how amazing it would be for a storyline for the Jets. Sensation. If they could come in here and beat the 4-0 Vikings, if they could be the team that completely comes out here and dog walks them and takes them to town, and Aaron Rodgers looks like the MVP we've seen in the past. But unfortunately, we're just seeing too many fouls, and we're seeing too many smart plays from the Minnesota Vikings. You know, I seen a stat last week that through 4 games, the Vikings have been trailing for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And now you can add to that because they're 17-0 up in the second quarter with 4 minutes to go. It's just smart play, Colin. It's just smart understanding of the game. As you said, you know, Sauce doesn't normally travel. When you're paying a guy $140 million a year and he's the best receiver in the league, you got to lock him out. And it's just smart calling. It's smart play, it's smart route running, and it's just a smart game overall from the Vikings.
Ian, I love how passionate you are about the NFL. It's brilliant to hear, but we've got to talk a little bit of MMA, a little bit of UFC. How reflective of the welterweight division is it that you're undefeated and only sit at 7th in those rankings? It feels low, I'm not going to lie.
I know I'm destined to be the world champion, so wherever I'm ranked, it's not going to be like that in 6 months.
All right, so
I'm ready to go. I'm one of the best in the world, undefeated. Soon they're going to be calling me undisputed, the most beautiful champion the world's ever seen. That's the way I look at it.
All right, well, looking up that table ahead of you, some pretty big names up there. Who do you want?
I'm ready for everyone and all that may come. I'm ready.
After that huge event in Manchester last month, a little Leon Edwards action might be quite spicy for the British and Irish fans to give a little, you know, cross the channel action.
I'm ready for everyone and anyone.
I love it.
I want to hear it.
Do you know what? With that kind of hype talk, I'm going to send Ian down to the Jets locker room at half-time. Try and get him going.
I mean, here, suit me up. Suit me up. I might not look it, but I can run. I could put me into the slot. Let me see what I could do.
When are you next back out there?
I've no idea. Right now, I'm here enjoying this beautiful game. watching the NFL, watching some inspirations. I'm a massive fan of Jetta and his footwork. When I fought Michael Venom Page and when I fought Jeff Neal, I watched a lot of tape on Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on their quick kind of side-to-side footwork, because I don't see a lot of people translate other elite sports into MMA. But when you watch someone like for example today, you watch Justin Jefferson against Sauce Gardner. He needs to have that quick lateral footwork to try fake it and make it and go all the way to the end zone by making someone's ankles break. For me, when I do MMA, I want to have that kind of lateral movement too. When I'm against the cage and someone's getting aggressive, hit them with a little slant, make someone think I'm going one way, glide the other, take the center of the cage and show people what's up.
Kickoff goes out the back of the end zone. One last question, because we've got an Irish UFC fighter here.
Let's
Obviously,
go.
we have to ask you about your thoughts on Conor's potential return, still being touted, still being talked about. Would you love to see him back in the octagon? Who do you want to see him face?
I would watch that man fight a brick wall. I don't care who he fights or when he comes back. I just want to see him do his thing once more. There's a reason he's a global sensation, and it'd be an honour to watch him.
And look, it takes some weight movement, but we'd love to see you in there with him at some point as well. Lovely stuff. Ian Gary, brilliant. Thank you so much as we get back to the game with 3:58 left in the third quarter. Rogers with a quick toss out to the right-hand side. Tyler Conklin gets down to the 40-yard line, and on the first down of the drive, picks up a Jets first down. Brilliant stuff, Ian Gary. If you weren't watching that on our talkSPORT YouTube channel, talkSPORT Endzone, you can do. You can be watching those interviews, you can be watching our commentary throughout this. Please go and like and subscribe, because there's some brilliant content being produced on that channel. Some brilliant work from the guys who are here at the game today, and so we'd love to have your support on there as well. We'll answer the question as well. Rogers with a quick toss to Garrett Wilson out to the 45. A little bit of arm wrestling with Josh Metellus, who tries to strip the ball away and eventually manages to pick up about 6 on the play. Good fight from Garrett Wilson, who Christian Scotland-Williamson. There's been some question over that so far this season.
There has, but I like what they're doing. They're condensing the playbook. They're going very simple. Quick pass to the tight end Conklin, then a flat pass to Garrett Wilson. They're not really playing expansive football. I think they're trying to just get a foothold in this game, get some passes together, and try and move the chains.
Right, ball at the 47-yard line of the Jets. 2nd and 6 after that completion to Garrett Wilson. Rogers operating from under centre, fakes the handoff to Breece Hall, has deep options, but instead opts for the check down and throws the ball low, looking for Tyler Conklin out to his right-hand side. And that was a little bit of B-flow magic, getting Rogers just a little bit off kilter.
Moving him off his mark, where he's trying to throw the ball off of one leg jumping, and he throws it almost straight to the ground. But this is where, if you look at what the Jets have actually completed in terms of passes, it's check downs, it's small yards to the right, to the left, which only pick up 2 or 3 yards. So they're not able to really drive down the field. So it means Brian Flores is really able to attack this offense with his defense.
Aaron Rodgers in the gun now. Breece Hall sat in front of him in protection. 2 receivers right, 2 to the left in Conklin and Mike White. He looks to that right-hand side and is absolutely barreled down by a blitzing Harrison Smith. As an individual, Harrison Smith is 4-0 in London already and looking like he's going to go 5-0 as he hits the quarterback that he's loved hitting so much over the course of his career.
Last week, they had 10 QB hits and 1 sack against the Green Bay Packers. They're able to get to the quarterback, and it's this game that's actually converting.
Brilliant blitz disguise, and look, Harrison Smith coming off that edge was absolutely unguarded all day long. The Jets are forced to punt again. 4th and 14 from their own 39-yard line. Back for the Jets is Brandon Powell again at the 10. Flag, possible delay of game call. What's being...
Play game on the offense, 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Nothing's really working for this Jets team today.
2:08 on the game clock. 2:08.
I think there was maybe an error in the game clock. They thought they were going to be able to push it to the 2-minute warning before they punt it, but delay again. They take the clock all the way down, and now 2:08 to play. They're going to be punting from the 34 instead, and Brandon Powell is able to make his way up to the 17-yard line to look to receive this.
This is the 2-minute
Former
warning.
Detroit, former LA Ram, and they do let it go down to the 2-minute warning. Nat Coombs, Minnesota dominant so far in this game. 17-0 up on the New York Jets. And with 2 minutes left of the first quarter, the Vikings with a chance to extend the lead live here on talkSPORT 2.
I think it's going to be a blowout.
You called it, man. Yeah. I mean, you're right. They're so discombobulated. I mean,
There's no consistency. There's no rhythm.
Will, just to answer your earlier question, I'm aware that we're live on YouTube right now. I've lost my phone. I have no idea where it's
should
gone.
we call it, Will? If you've seen where Will dropped his phone, let us know in the comments section. Yeah, that's live broadcasting for you.
Ian Gary's made off with it. That's what's happened. I'm sure he hasn't.
Ian Gary has definitely not taken your phone.
He was, oh, by the way, absolutely unbelievable.
He was brilliant.
Wasn't it fascinating what he was saying about following
Footwork.
college and footwork too? That was fascinating. Let me get your take on that.
But so in terms of the footwork side of things, you can understand because it's a quick striking game, multidisciplinary. A lot of defensive linemen do MMA work in terms of the judo, the hands, and the grappling. So it's natural that it would translate the other way. In terms of the college, I really like that because you can build a relationship almost with a player before they hit the big time, understand that journey, that kind of arc of where they go in the draft, how they perform as a rookie, and so on. So as an entry into the NFL, I mean, he sounded knowledgeable. The proof was in everything he was saying.
He knew what he was talking about, but it's true. And if there are fans out there that are NFL fans first and foremost, but maybe haven't discovered much about college other than when it's draft time and watching tape around that.
Or Vanderbilt.
I found the phone. I know that's the hot story.
For that. Yeah, then college football is well worth a watch, particularly for the reasons Ian Gary was saying.
Cowboys Steelers Sunday night football. Don't think I'm staying up for that one.
What, you mean you don't want to see TJ Watt sack Dak Prescott?
Welcome back to NFL Live here on talkSPORT 2. It has been a tough day at the office so far for the New York Jets, and for Aaron Rodgers in particular. This offense has been absolutely struggling all afternoon, and with a 17-point hole, and hey, there's still 2 minutes of this quarter to go, so it might be getting worse. You've got to feel that this could be the New York Jets season on the line. The second half of this game and how the Jets come out, if they come out swinging, could be critical to the trajectory of this season. A season which started with such high hopes for the Jets. A lot of people were talking them up as maybe a left field Super Bowl contender. They don't look it right now, Will Gavin.
Don't forget we had the possible muff punt earlier. Play like that would help bring this game a little bit of life. The Vikings are to jump this line. They're desperate to get a block and really kill this game off as the ball goes up into the air by Thomas Morstead all the way down to the 10-yard line. Sensational punt, but it will be fielded, and an attempted return by Brandon Powell gets the ball out to about the 22. There is a flag down on the play inside the 10, and that may well be bringing it back for the Minnesota offense. The return negated by the flag.
Legal block in the back, receiving team number 20. Half the distance to the goal. Push them.
So not only do they lose the extra 13 or 14 yards they picked up, they actually end up having to start from pretty much inside their own end zone.
And this is the kind of thing the Jets need. Really, 2 minutes to go, they just need to not give up even a field goal to have a chance to go into the half, limit the damage, and plug the holes, because there's a big team talk that's needed, because you wonder, is the confidence there in this offense to even function and put points on the board?
So they are going to be starting. Actually, it's only back at the 5, so they gave him a generous half the distance to the goal with Darnold under centre, one running back in the backfield. He's got Jefferson out to his right up against Sauce. Again, he does just put it into the gut of Ty Chandler, who bounces off one tackle and then takes out to the left-hand side for a little rumbling 4-yard gain. That'll be 2nd and 6 from the 9.
Just create some space there for Sam Darnold to be able to throw on this next phase, because you're backed up. You want to just get 2-3 yards, just get a bit of space from that end zone, so there's no idea of being able to concede a safety.
That's a first time out, for the New York Jets with 1:42 left in the second quarter. It'll just be a short 25-second time out as they look to get this game rolling a little bit. Don't forget that obviously there's a full window of games for you coming up live on talkSPORT 2 throughout this evening. You've got the must-win game for the Jacksonville Jaguars up against the Indianapolis Colts. Join John Jackson for that one from 6 this evening. And then Jay Lawrence will be bringing you 49ers Cardinals. I think that's a tasty, tasty game tonight for us in the 9 p.m. window before Cowboys Steelers on Sunday Night Football. If you were watching on the live stream on talkSPORT Endzone, I was saying very positive things about that game, I promise you. Right. Darnold in the gun for this 2nd and 6 from the 9. He's got Ty Chandler alongside him, who stays into block, but Darnold goes for the quick throw out to the right side looking for Jefferson, and this time Sauce Gardner wins that battle without any laundry on the field. I got a new tumble dryer yesterday, Christian, and I feel like I'm going to be having to offer its services out to this refereeing crew before they head back to the States tomorrow. Actually, they keep it in their pockets for once.
You'll be picking out a piece of yellow lint from all your clothes soon.
Do you want to hear how sad it is? It was my 40th birthday present from my parents.
That is brilliant.
I've just had twins,
Present of
all right?
dreams.
We need something to help with just anything around the house, but ridiculous stuff. Right, there's Darnold in the gun. It's a huge 3rd and 6. If the Jets can get a stop here, they'll have a chance to score before the break. Darnold with Chandler alongside him. He sends Jefferson in motion. He looks to Jefferson, and the ball is blown dead. Play is blown dead before they get a chance to throw it.
Delay game on the offense. That's after
Delay of game on the offense. That play clock was ticking down. That is a difficult one to see in this stadium. If you're playing from that left-hand side end zone, the play clock is over to the right here on that huge raking south stand that Tottenham have, and it's almost kind of hidden in amongst there. And it's an underrated thing for quarterbacks. If you're playing a road game, knowing things like where to look for the play clock, where to look for the timeout, those are things that if it's your home stadium you know so well, but on the road can be so much more difficult. So with now a 3rd and 10, ball on the 5, Darnold has 3 wideouts out wide, instead just puts it into the gut of Ty Chandler, who is contacted heavily at the line of scrimmage. Big tackle by Jamie Sherwood, who leads this Jets defence in tackles on the day. They take another timeout, no gain there, and with 1:36 left in this second quarter, the Jets are going to be getting the ball back with 1 timeout to spare and a chance to drive down the field, Christian.
And this is where you have to applaud the Jets defence, playing principally sound defence there, where they're backed up, don't let anything get behind them, keep the ball in front of you, because now with 1:36 on the clock, what we saw that Green Bay did well against the Vikings was no huddle. Aaron Rodgers is one of the kings of 2 minutes, and this is where, if this Jets offense has their detail dialed in, they're able to run tempo against this Vikings defense. They may be able to move down the field and hopefully get a field goal and put some points on the board before the half.
This is an underrated, super tough thing to do in the NFL. The punter, Ryan Wright, is going to have to punt from at the back of his own end zone, meaning a much shorter snap than usual, but he gets the ball away and it's up past the 50, out to the 40 with a chance to return. They are bringing the ball back and they manage to break through. Xavier Gibson out to his left-hand side. He's got blocks in front of him, out to the 40, out to the 35, down to the 30-yard line, and it'll be a best starting field position of the day for Aaron Rodgers on a huge return from that punt. Stout defense, good use of timeouts, and now the Jets with a chance to claw their way back into this football game.
And this is something that the Jets have done well in the season. Xavier Gibson has 184 yards until today in terms of kick return. So their special teams is giving them short field positions by returning the ball and getting some yards there. This is short field position. You're almost in field goal range already. Now it's up to, can you potentially put even more and get 6 on the board?
A 30-yard punt return for Xavier Gibson, his biggest of the season so far. And how big could it be to the outcome of this game? Rodgers with the offense on the field in the gun. He's got Breece Hall alongside him. Garrett Wilson split out left with Harrison Smith shading to that side. He does go to Breece Hall with the box getting a bit lighter. And Hall finally picking up some yardage on a first down. Gets all the way out to the 24-yard line. That's going to be about an 7-8 yard pickup. And that's going to be a 2nd and 3 from the 24. Jets need to get something rolling here.
And this is where you've got 4 minutes on the clock. There's no need to rush. Call your best play and know that you've got enough time.
Rodgers, 3 yards deep from the line. Breece Hall with him. He decides to go for a quick one out to Wilson. Wilson with the first down. Turns back at the 15. Contacted at the 14. Out of bounds, so the clock won't continue to tick. Thought he might have had a little step on Stephon Gilmore there. Tried to pick up some extra yardage, but most importantly, a Jets first down at the 15.
Did really well to eat up that cushion on the quick out. 5 yard out. Stephon Gilmore sitting off in coverage, take what's available and get out of bounds.
They're going simple. They're like that on this drive. They are taking a little bit of the complication out of the game, and it is working for them early doors. 1st and 10 from the 15. They've gone 5 wide with Lazard and White to the right, with Breece Hall and Wilson to the left. Tyler Conklin lining up in line. He go over the middle to Lazard. Ball is up in the air. Oh, that was very, very close to dropping into the arms of Harrison Smith for a second turnover of the day. But luckily for the Jets, it falls incomplete. Alan Lazard has bobbled a few of those today.
And this is where you see Aaron Rodgers go to his favourite targets, because there are other players option. He didn't really even look at Garrett Wilson on the left. He decided to throw into the middle of the field, short pass, and you would expect Alan Lazard to catch that routinely.
45 seconds remaining, 2nd and 10 from the 15. Rodgers stamps his foot, going for the hard count. Tried to see if the defense would show. They didn't. They blitz. He goes quick to Wilson, but it's behind his off shoulder with Stephon Gilmore in coverage. Frustrating for the Jets. And that's going to be 3rd and 10 from the 15.
And this is where it gets tricky, because try to hit Garrett Wilson on the quick slant on Stephon Gilmore, throw the ball slightly behind and high. Now you're in 3rd and 10. You need to not throw an interception so you can actually get some points on the board, but you also have to go aggressive. Think about dialing up a shot to the end zone.
So 3rd and 10 from the 15. 10 yards for a 5-yard line for a first down. Goal line for a touchdown. He does have Lazard and Wilson to the same side of the formation, to the right. Tyler Conklin, Mike White to his left. Brees Hall in alongside him. Straight 5-step drop for Rodgers. Scrambles out of the pocket. Has an opportunity. Back in the end zone. Lazard brings it down, and it's a touchdown for the New York Jets, as Alan Lazard just tells them to calm it down. 6 on the board, and finally they won't be going in at the half scoreless.
And that's exactly what was needed. It goes to old faithful Alan Lazard, his former friend from Green Bay. But what great quarterbacks do, when the pocket collapses, they step up into the pocket and he's able to get the ball off before he gets to the line of scrimmage.
That was true experience. And you saw Brees Hall going out to make a block. They actually end up dropping 7 in that situation, showing that kind of zone, not going for the blitz. A little bit soft from Brian Flores, maybe, as my voice cracks on the extra point.
We'll give you a breather, Will, just for a minute. It's a great point you make, CSW, about stepping into the pocket. Tom Brady was a master of that. And I've been thinking, and I want to ask you this question, even though he's had a pretty difficult first half. One of the great things about Aaron Rodgers throughout much of his career was his ability to improvise and use his mobility in that way and extend the play and keep it alive. And I guess as he gets older, that becomes less realistic to do. But he's got so many smarts that he applies it in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the Achilles injury, you have to wonder, at 40 years old, are you as willing to really scramble, risk further injury? And in that situation, what was good is the edges collapse and cave in, but the integrity of the middle of the line was there for him to step up into. And what you see with a lot of inexperienced quarterbacks, that pressure starts showing. Caleb Williams has done it already this season. They start to try and roll out and scramble around the back of the pocket instead of stepping up into it, keeping their eyes downfield and be able to deliver an accurate pass.
Got to hold your nerve, don't you? And it's easier said than done, let me tell you. But Rodgers definitely did then in many senses of the phrase. And as you said, Will, with the commentary, Alan Lazard telling everybody to cool it is exactly what they need now with this score, with 7 on the board, going into the locker room as the ball is bouncing out the back of the end zone on the kickoff. They just need that bit of composure now to look at this and think, it's only a 2-score game.
17-7, the Minnesota Vikings lead the New York Jets with 36 seconds left of the second quarter. They'll be starting with the ball at the 30. 3 timeouts here. That gives you everything. That gives you the middle of the field. That gives you options. You would say, what's the career long? Let's turn our attention to the Bible, as people have been calling it, on our YouTube channel for the rookie Will Ricard. On the season, a 58 long for him. So they're only looking to get the ball around about the 40-45. They only need to pick up 30 or 40 yards here to get into field goal range. Opportunity to make this a 13-point game before the half, and Darnold does step back and look to throw. He's under pressure, but rolls out of it, steps up in the pocket, out to the 25, ends up throwing the ball away. Smart play in the end from Sam Darnold. Big pressure coming from both Quinnen Williams and Will McDonald off the edge, but it will be a 2nd and 10. They lose 6 seconds, but no yardage.
He's evaded the sack. That's the one drive killer in 2 minutes. You cannot take a sack, and he throws the ball away, preserving 29 seconds on the clock to get 30 yards.
So, ball at the 30, coming out of the huddle. He's sending Johnny Munt, Jalen Naylor out to his left and bringing Jordan Addison in motion out to the right-hand side with Justin Jefferson, with Sauce Gardner and Isaiah Oliver over on that side in the gun. Snap for Darnold, looks for the quick throw, and Darnold goes down. First time he managed to scramble, this time Michael Clemens gets home for the big sack down to the 20-yard line, a 10-yard loss for Sam Darnold, and that's going to be a 3rd and 19, and it looks like they're just going to let this clock run to the half and head into the locker room. 17-7, the Minnesota Vikings leading over the New York Jets. A sensational start to this game from a scoring perspective. The Jets coming out early on their opening drive. Will Richard's 54-yard field goal opening things up. Aaron Rodgers, a pick 6, looking for Garrett Wilson. Returned by Andrew Van Ginkel, 63 yards. Our first offensive touchdown of the game didn't come till 4:48 left in the second quarter when CJ Ham rumbled over the left side to give Minnesota a 17-0 lead. But finally the Jets get on the board with 46 seconds remaining. Rodgers to Lazard from 14 yards for the touchdown, and that's how we go in at the half, 17-7. Surprisingly, still a ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. Surprising is the word. And looking at some of the key numbers that you pull out at this stage of proceedings, 12 rushing yards. The Jets' ground game failing again. The time of possession as well, Christian, heavily in favour of the Vikings. And this Jets D has been demonstrating why it's one of the best in the business and stepping up at crucial times, making big plays. But it can't continue to do that, be expected to do that through the course of 4 quarters.
The Jets have 4 first downs in the first half. The Vikings have 13. That means that one defense is getting some rest, one defense is on the field for a lot of this first half. You factor in the travel, you factor in the fact that we had some 3 and outs early, which has dominated time and possession in favour of the Vikings. Fourth quarter, that's where it makes a difference. And we've seen against the Packers that the Vikings can let teams back in the second half. You wonder, does that score just before going into halftime give yourself a better team talk, give Aaron Rodgers a bit more positive speak to the rest of his teammates, because they've gone simple in that drive, and that's what works. Simple and effective, nothing too risky, nothing too far downfield, and they protected the football.
I guess the last couple of minutes of that half are going to be moments that the Jets will build a lot of positives on in the locker room at halftime. Obviously, the scoring the touchdown to make it a 10-point game, but the way the D stepped up once again right at the end, because that would have been the ultimate sucker punch if Donald had got him that, even just picked up 3. It would have just taken the edge out of that drive. So big
positivity on the YouTube is coming in the favour of the Jets. Marcus saying relax, give 8 time, he can still come into this. Come on Jets, go from Hemi. Bakamoroso says Jets can still get back into this game. People believe that this is not said and done, which we thought at 17-0 it very well could be. The big thing in this game, though, I think, has been the turnovers. Yeah. Because even when the Jets finally force that stop, when Quincy Williams jumps on that Ty Chandler fumble and ends up bringing that ball down to the 30-yard line, that's it. Jets, chance to get into the game, only down 10, absolutely massive. And he goes and throws that huge interception to Andrew Van Ginkel. Now, it's an incredible play, but it's a game killer potentially, and they're fortunate, I think, to only be 10 points down.
Very exciting moment for NFL UK Nation coming up. The great O.C. Umenyiora is going to be inducted into the London Ring of Honor. That's coming next.
So who's going down to pick up the snacks?
That's the important stuff we talk about
this is when
production meeting.
This is when we really need a John Jackson type to just go and
you see,
bring a load of
who
food
needs the
up.
snacks when we got CSW? Thanks, mate.
I always feel like if I'm looking in, that's like an absolute, that's a no-no, right? You take what you're given. The fruit pastel gods will shine on you what you get
That's
given.
the lucky dip.
People who look in and go, I'm going to take a black one or a red one.
Did I look in, or did I just kind of, what was I?
No, I looked in and then hated myself for it.
As you were saying, I was thinking, did I look in? Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, I love this idea. I'm really intrigued. Neil Reynolds on the field. He's got to go back to host the 6 p.m. game straight after this.
It's a hard knock life.
He said he's going to be on a motorbike.
Oh, really? What, Uber motorbike kind of thing?
Like a Sons of Anarchy Harley.
Should we hear a bit of this, Will? Let's hear a bit of the PA. Let's hear a little. Yeah, but we're not on YouTube.
Very good point.
Hear it.
This is the Ring of Honor we were just talking about, of course, the inaugural NFL London Ring of Honor. O.C. Umenyiora is about to be introduced. There he is.
Do you know what? A lot of people have actually stayed in their seats for this. Sometimes you get these Ring of Honor things. I watched the Frank Gore one from the 49ers when he got inducted the week before he came out here, and people stayed out there for it. I would say, if you look around the stadium, the only area where people haven't stayed in their seats for is in the hospitality bit directly opposite us. Where it's completely empty. They've all gone in to get their Sunday roast. But yeah,
so O.C. Umenyiora, and he absolutely, as Neil said, our friend. The three of us have worked with him lots over the years, going into the Ring of Honor alongside him.
He's a 5-time Pro Bowler who recorded more than 130 sacks in his career. He is a member of the Minnesota Vikings Ring of Honor. Today he becomes a member of the NFL London Games Ring of Honor. Please welcome back to the UK, Jared Allen.
The great Jared Allen. And listen to that reception.
Are we back live on radio? I think we might be.
That's a little bit distracted there.
Just double checking.
Okay.
Yeah, listen.
OC, Jared, you are both recognised for this prestigious honour for your work on and off the field, for everything you've done in your communities in the United States and here in the UK, and growing this great game that we love around the world. So we recognise your passion, and it's great that you are both being honoured here today. Let's give them a round of applause for that.
Jared Allen, by the way, top bloke, like really nice.
Now I would like to invite a very special young man to present
well,
OC with his NFL London Games Ring of Honor blazer. His name is Sunday Samuel. OC discovered him in Nigeria, and he is now playing for the NFL Academy in Loughborough. So Sunday, if you could present OC with his blazer. OC, these blazers designed by your old teammate Michael Strahan.
Absolutely love
and then
that.
OC say a few words.
So before OC steps up there to say a few words, do you remember that Vikings-Steelers game?
Yes, I do. I was pitch side doing interviews for TV for that game, the Greg Jennings game.
So we were talking about this today. So the Vikings obviously 4-0 in London, incredible, as well as 4-0 on the season. I think we might be coming back, so I'll do it there. Oh, got highlights, that's fine. That game was two 0-3 teams who had been considered being hot prospects, and ended up both collapsing like a flan in a cupboard. Adrian Peterson had 2 touchdowns, I think. Greg Jennings had a huge game.
Greg Jennings had a massive game. It was Matt Castle was playing, wasn't it?
But we ended up watching the... So they said to us, still relatively early doors of them doing like the proper media coverage. We got taken down to the locker rooms. They told us we had to go down with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So me and you know when the Steelers got to midfield and went 4 and out, me and Crossy were watching the game on my phone underneath Wembley because we couldn't get out to watch it. So stupid.
My wonderful wife, my beautiful wife over here.
Oh, we are live still on
YouTube, by the
way.
And if I don't thank you, I'm not going to be able to go home. Now, I must say this. I was lucky enough to be born in this incredible country and lucky enough to have played the game of football. And because of those reasons, I've been given opportunities.
When we come back,
and we took that chance to give opportunities to different people. And everybody out there right now, I implore you, if you've been given opportunities, give those same chances to other people because you might end up in the Ring of Honor too. Thank you so much. Much love and respect.
17-7 at the half here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we are witnessing the very first inductees to the NFL London Ring of Honor. And the great Osi Minura, friend, of course, of us over the years. I remember the first time he rolled into the studio for the Super Bowl when we were doing it back in the day on Channel 4. I met him about 5 minutes before we started rolling, as calm as you like, and of course just segue perfectly from playing into broadcasting like the natural that he is. And what a fantastic welcome he has got, unsurprisingly, from the NFL UK faithful. The other inductee we'll hear from now, the great Jared Allen.
Thank you so much. First off, thank the NFL for this amazing opportunity and expanding the game I love across the pond over here to London. London, is great to be back. I've been back here in 11 years. You guys were fantastic fans then. You're even better now, so thank you. To my wife and my kids, you know I love you more than anything. Thank you for all the support along the way. With that said, Skull Vikes, let's get him in the second half.
Can we just discuss how Jared Allen has been retired, 4 or 5 years from the NFL now,
Jared,
42 years of old.
Come back up here.
And he's still rocking the mullet.
Still
rocking the mullet. I mean, good on him.
One of the few people in the world that can pull it off as well.
Need you here. Now I feel like an NFL quarterback in a lot of trouble right now. NFL fans, I'd like to ask you to direct your attention to the cockerel at the top of the South Stand. Jared, OC, congratulations. You are now officially the inaugural class of the NFL London Games Ring of Honor.
So those listening on radio, they are unveiling the first 2 names of Jared Allen and Osi Umenyiora for the NFL Ring of Honor. We are getting fireworks going off. We've got red white and blue smoke. This is proper Americana. I've got to say, like, when I first heard about this idea a few weeks ago, was having a chat with NFL UK. Not at all. No, I love this idea so much. I do think longer term, what I want to see is guys honours who had a huge part of. This we're seeing Tom Coughlin, by the way, on the big screens talking about OCU and Euro. But I think, like, I'd love to see people who really had an effect on the game here, in particular guys like Kevin Cadle, guys like Alistair Kirkwood.
Absolutely.
Dare I even say it, guys like Neil. But I won't be too kind to
my name too long to go up.
Yeah, exactly. What about, look at, I mean, Christy and I are looking at each other like he's going to say us. Surely we're both in that.
Guys like Nat Coombs, guys like Christian Scotland Williamson, like. Obviously, it's great to have like the big flashy names. I'm sure that will be the idea, is that for every game they get a legend from one of the teams coming over who's played here previously.
Yeah.
As the teams come out for the second half, I remember going to the first game in 2007, and it was phenomenal to see a regular season game come over to London. But it felt like, even though it was a competitive game, with the eventual Super Bowl champions playing in it, amongst the crowd, with the atmosphere beforehand, with everything about it, it had that exhibition feel very much. You come to this stadium now, purpose designed for the NFL, its own separate field, its own separate locker rooms, fans of every single team, a roaring crowd atmosphere, and you just see how far that game has come in that last 17 years. And you've just got to honour the people who made that all happen, right?
Absolutely. I think, and Alistair Kirkwood is a great shout. He's somebody that doesn't get nearly enough credit for the role that he played, which was instrumental. I am thrilled to have been a small part of the growth of this game, and I think about it starting in that year. That's the first year I started broadcasting, 2007, and you think about how far it's come now, not just the London games, but we even see it in the studios at talkSPORT. When we're doing a live show on a Sunday, there are people coming in and out of the gallery, what's going on, all eyes on what's Red Zone and what's happening, and it is testament to the growth and popularity of the game over here.
I always get asked about the growth of the game here, and the example I always give from a personal perspective, it's phenomenal seeing, when we started a podcast 12, 13 years ago, to see the growth of that happen, the stuff we did with Gridiron, the stuff we now do with talkSPORT, that's all phenomenal. But from just a personal perspective, and I'll give a shout out to the great Ollie Hunter, who I'm sure is watching on the live stream because he can't help but with his classic bit of FOMO. I came to talkSPORT in 2012, and realistically, you had Danny Kelly, and then you had me, and then you had Ollie Hunter. The only people who on a Sunday gave anything like a care about the NFL. Now we run like two separate fantasy leagues with like a promotion relegation thing. Now I have people like who I never had any idea about it will come up to me and be like, oh my God, did you see this play? Did you see that moment? Should I start this person in fantasy? Like, what do you make of this quarterback? And I'm like, my mind is blown to see it's that casual element of the fan base and people who have really bought into it and got into it. And like, the growth is as big as they say it is. Sometimes it sounds like PR spin. I think we're at a point where it is one of the biggest sports in this country. Beyond, you've obviously got football is football and will forever be the top 5 sports. And stuff like boxing, huge for talkSPORT. But that list of sports behind it, the NFL, I think, can now count itself in with the likes of domestic rugby, domestic cricket. Like, as popular as those games on a week-in, week-out basis, we see it in our numbers, and I love to see it. Absolutely love to see it.
And even from the academy side, we're actually going to get some homegrown players soon enough, hopefully.
Yeah.
We've got some boys who are really tearing up the SEC at the moment. Some boys at Oklahoma, Mississippi, and things like that. And being able to have a homegrown talent that goes through the academy, goes to college, and plays the NFL, it's only 2-3 years away from us.
And you have been a major part of that. We've got to give you the absolute credit for that, blazing a trail and being an inspiration. I remember being outside the grounder a few years ago with you.
2019.
Young kids, players coming up, and just you went there and did it, and you were an inspiration to them. So respect for that, man. Alrighty, second half is about to get underway. The Jets ended the first half certainly much better than they started it, and it is game on. It'll be fascinating to see if that passage of 3 or 4 minutes has galvanized this New York Jets side. I don't want to overstate it, but this half of football could be fundamental to this New York Jets season. Have they got the moxie to fight back? Second half about to get underway, so I'll hand back over to Will.
We've been asked on the YouTube stream at talkSPORT Endzone whether there's an injury update on whether we could see Aaron Jones back in the game. Suffered a hip injury back in week 2. He's out with a hip injury right now. Questionable, still listed as to return. So we'll see who the running backs are out on the field when for the first time the Minnesota Vikings start this second half. And it does look like it is Ty Chandler in alongside Sam Darnold. 17-7 game. The Jets back into it after that late touchdown drive. Big punt return followed by the touchdown. And we are now looking at a Vikings drive to go and regain that 3-score lead. But if the Jets defense can show up, and the secondary really has been in this game so far, then maybe we might just have a game on our hands. Sam Darnold in centre. He's got two backs in the eye, Ham and Chandler behind him. It does go to Chandler running behind. Ham makes one little step to the right, gets that a yard beyond the line of scrimmage, but is swallowed up by that Vikings defence. Jamie Sherwood in on the tackle. Javon Kinlaw in there as well. And that's going to be a 2nd and 9 at the 31, Christian.
And good scheme from the Jets defence there. They keep the bigger, more stout defensive linemen on the inside, and then they bring the linebackers to bring contain on the outside, which forces the running back into the meat of that defence.
Darnold back under centre again with Ham and Chandler behind him. He's got Jefferson and Addison wind up left and right. Addison is going across the formation from left to right. It's a fake handoff. He's going to go for the check down to Chandler. A little overcommit from the Jets defense. It lets him get out to about the 32-yard line, but overall excellent coverage reading that situation from particularly Javon Kinlaw getting across, and that's now going to be a 3rd and 8 and not the start to the second half that the Vikings needed.
They got quite cute there actually. A play action into a screen, but then it hasn't turned up for the yards that they needed, and so now they're in a 3rd and quite long to start this second half.
Jets lining up with 4 along the line of scrimmage. Isaiah Oliver showing a little bit of potential pressure. In fact, they've brought another 2 to the line of scrimmage, so they are showing blitz here. Jefferson goes in formation from left to right. Darnold in the gun with one running back alongside him. 5-step drop. Time in the pocket now is under pressure, having to roll out back to the left and across to the right. He's out in space at the 20, up to the 25, throws a deep one downfield, and it's a throwaway out of bounds. Really good pressure from that Jets defense. The mileage that was covered there by Quinnen Williams as such a huge individual was pretty sensational to see as he collapses on the far sideline, looking like I would if I had to run 30 yards. And it's a 3 and out to start the second half for the Minnesota Vikings.
And that's that effort and hustle that Robert Saleh likes from his defense. Sam Darnold, good awareness to roll out, but then also just sees there's nothing open downfield. So then for all the running he's done, he scrambled to the far side, decides to throw it away and live to fight another day.
So the punt will be from their 32, the 4th and 8. A few punts already in this game. Not yet see anything. I was hoping we might see something a little bit wild from this, but just the one punt, 58 yards so far, 4 right. Be looking for similar distance here. Takes it at the 19. Big, high, spiralling kick. Almost reaches the roof of the stadium. Drops to the 25. Contact between the gunner and the Jet coming in to receive it, who had called for a fair catch. And whilst the catch happened at the 25, that late contact for Caleb Evans is going to cost them some extra yardage here.
On the kicking team number 21, 15 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Huge 15 yards tacked on there. What would have started at the 25-yard line is going to be moved all the way to the 40.
And those are the things that you need if you're the Jets to go your way, because you have to remember, both teams have only scored 1 offensive touchdown, so defense has been the difference in this game thus far. So short fields and Aaron Rodgers with hopefully a good team talk, a change of game plan, a simple strategy coming out in the second half will drive them down the field.
Seeing Rondé Barber interviewing Jared Allen up on the big screen wearing his new Ring of Honor International jersey. We've got some Olympians in the house coming up to join us shortly. Very excited for this. Don't worry, you don't have to have a deep NFL knowledge. We're going to head straight there with Matt Coons.
Well, I was going to say, well, we will definitely, because Amy Hunt, sprinter and Olympic medalist, of course, with us. Rondé Barber, I just wanted to point out, I once played virtual golf with him, which didn't go very well. I just want to, for me anyway.
Rondé Barber did text me today to check if I was going to be wearing the flat cap. I indeed am, Rondé. I thought you weren't going to wear yours. Unbelievable.
Got the memo. Amy, great to see you.
Thank you. Nice
Resplendent
to meet you.
in Vikings,
Yes.
Vikings merch, but you're a genuine Vikings fan.
I am a Vikings fan. I've got my J-Jets jersey on. I've also got my socks on.
Sounds right. Get those.
There we go.
Can you get your leg higher?
For the live YouTube. So why the Vikings?
My dad was a big NFL fan, so I watched it growing up. And when I was a young girl, he told me to pick a team, and I thought the name was really, really fun and different. And I really liked the colour purple and gold, obviously. So I ended up going for them when I was about 7 years old, and now I've stayed loyal, I've stayed true through the dark times, and here we are when times are good again.
It's certainly coming good now, isn't it? But that's very much a testament to a serious fan when you've had quite a few rough years, and Vikings fans have, but now the belief is here, right? Rolling into London 4-0, leading the Jets in the third quarter. How far do you think this team can go? What's the ceiling for the Vikings this year?
I think the ceiling has to be Super Bowl. I don't think there's any other team that's ever gone 5-0 and not made the playoffs, apart from the Vikings, maybe. It's the only team to have actually had that stat. So I think if we get another win on the road here, and then it will be insane. I think Super Bowl, you have to be in the sights, but it's such a disciplined team. It's been so good to see the energy shift when we brought the new coaching staff in, and it's just such a good vibe to be around.
And speaking of vibes to be around, we were talking about the evolution of the NFL London games, and we were all at the first one all those years ago. And now coming here, not only does it feel like a bona fide NFL game as opposed to maybe an exhibition, but it feels like a lot Vikings home game as well. There is purple and gold everywhere you look.
They have such a strong fan base in the UK. The UK Vikings Instagram page is always popping off.
Yeah.
It's been so great to see the little pub meetups and feel the crowd's energy and see everyone's costumes. It's been insane. So I'm really glad London has gone to the effort and shown these guys a great time.
Amy, stay with us. More to chat with you in a bit.
Rodgers under centre, tossing the ball to Breece Hall, out past the 40, down to about the 43-yard line, 3-yard gain on first down. This drive for the Jets starting from the 40 after the penalty on the punt, meaning that they only have the 60 yards to go to make this a 3-point game. I'm being that positive, Christian Scotland-Williamson. Will Gavin here for play-by-play. Former Steelers tight end Christian Scotland-Williamson alongside me. And look, we saw them go simple. Surely that's the game plan again.
They brought 2 tight ends onto the field that time and ran it straight behind them. That's what we like to see.
Garrett Wilson split out left. It's 2 tight ends on the right of the formation again. Lazard across to the right. It's a 12 personnel with Breece Hall in the backfield and Rodgers under centre. He gives it to Allen again, and this time he's absolutely destroyed behind the line of scrimmage. The returning Ivan Pace Jr. back into this lineup after the injury has his second tackle for loss of the day, and they're going to be forced back into a 3rd and long from their own 38-yard line.
And this is where Brian Flores' defense has you sometimes chasing ghosts, because that should be hat for a hat in a running situation, and they left a free defender unabated straight to the running back for the tackle in the backfield.
Classic run blitz look. Maybe the Jets making it a little too easy for them. 3 receivers right, 1 receiver left is Garrett Wilson. 3rd and 12, Rodgers in the gun. Sampson's foot, Breece Hall stays in and blocks. Rodgers just goes for the check down to Tyler Conklin. Conklin up against Josh Metellus, gets out to the 45-yard line in the end. Picks up about 7 on 3rd down, but leaves it in a 4th and 5 situation. And with it just a 10-point game, we'll see a 2nd, 3rd and out of the second half. The punt unit out for the Jets.
See, I like the effort to try and establish a run game. They put 2 tight ends on the field for the first 2 plays. They ran the ball to the left behind the tight ends the first play. The second play, they got blown up by a blitz. And so when you have a negative yard play on the 2nd down, that means you've got no choice but to get off the field effectively, unless you come up with a big pass that they've not shown that they're capable of doing thus far.
Thomas Morstead, the Super Bowl winning punter of the New Orleans Saints, back there for the Jets. A little bit of a fumbled snap, but does manage to get the ball away all the way down inside the 10. With Brandon Lloyd going to return it, that takes a very kind Vikings bounce at the 5. The Gunners unable to get there, and it means that they'll be out and starting from the 20 when the Vikings return to the field up 17-7.
Amy Hunt with us, and we were talking about the atmosphere here, Amy, and as a Vikings fan, it's pretty good to see this performance so far in the Vikings nation, UK nation in effect, but you had some pretty good experiences of back stadiums and successful days at the office yourself over the summer. How are you feeling now with a bit of time to reflect on the Olympics?
I'm feeling very, very tired at the end of an incredibly long year full of lots and lots of travel, but it's been amazing to reflect on my individual achievements, my achievements as part of the wider relay squad, and I've just been blessed with so many magical and wonderful memories this year. I got to hug my parents on our victory lap after our Olympic silver, and that was one of my favourite memories of my entire life.
And I bet theirs as well.
Yeah,
right?
it was absolutely beautiful. So to be able to come together, the 4 of us, and yeah, it was so much fun.
Is there something really special, Amy, about the relay in particular, about 4 women doing it together to go there and win yourselves a silver, which, you know, you were touted for a medal, but an unbelievable result?
I think it was such an amazing moment of girlhood. The 4 of us, really young women, all from very, very different backgrounds, kind of bringing together our individual stories and patchworks of communities and hardships we all came together in that one moment to achieve something that no GB women's team has achieved since the 60s, I think. So it was a very, very special moment for all of us, and the culmination of so much hard work.
It's the first time we've had the Olympics on talkSPORT in full, and hearing all those great stories from people as we spoke to them, you know, the availability the morning after or the same night after those medals. Sometimes the morning after was more fun. The morning after stories were definitely more fun.
I'm going with fun for you.
But look, what's been the coolest thing you've got to do since you got back from Paris?
This, 100%.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear.
I actually could
She means coming on talkSPORT
No, she means the game where I'm not
talking. Oh my God, standing down there for the coin toss as a Vikings fan was one of the most insane experiences of my entire life. I was proper freaking out. I could have screamed. It was, I just had the biggest smile plastered on my face.
Wow, I tell you what, you're bringing a lot of luck to the Vikings today. They are taking care of business. It's been brilliant chatting to you. Thanks so much for dropping by. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Amy. Really appreciate her time. Congratulations again. Unbelievable. Like, what a performance from Team GB as we saw it in Paris, and brought it to you live on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. Part of a sensational live sport offering from talkSPORT 2. We've got 3 NFL games for you tonight. We've got all 3 of these games from London. We'll be in Germany for you for that International Series game there. We've got playoff games. We've got the lot for you. But right now, we've got a game on our hands at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 17-7, the Vikings lead the Jets. But the Vikings have the ball at their 20. It's a fake handoff with a quick throw out to Jordan Addison. First target for him on the day, out to the 25-yard line. Nice little quick 5-yard pickup to get the game moving. And with 11 minutes left in the third quarter, the Vikings 2nd and 5 at the 25.
It's the first time since Sam Darnold got sacked in the first quarter. We've seen them use that boot action to the left and then come back to the weak side to Jordan Addison very successfully.
Lovely stuff. Right, Darnold makes a check under centre, hearing him make it because it's so quiet in the stadium and the Vikings are on the field. Where are the Jets fans making some noise? Sam Darnold fakes a handoff again. He's got a streaking Jordan Addison over the middle and finds him at the 50-yard line. Just one defender there who wraps him up for the tackle, but a huge 27-yard completion to Jordan Addison, and the Vikings are out across midfield.
And that's a clean pocket. He was patting the ball 1, 2, 3, and then able to get the ball out. He was unhurried, and that's the reason why Addison can get open so deep in the downfield.
Jordan Addison, 2 targets in this half, 2 catches. That big one getting the Vikings across midfield in this 17-7 game. Former USC wide receiver, where also Darnold played his quarterbacking in college. You've got to say, they missed him while he was injured in those first few weeks. I know they're 4-0, but he just offers such an extra bit of scheme diversity when people don't expect you to go to Jefferson with every single play.
If you double Jefferson and then you have an equal, Batman and Robin, like we used to say with the Eagles, if you double Jefferson, then Addison's open. But don't forget as well, they've got TJ Hawkinson, the all-pro, Pro Bowl tight end, who's still to come back. So this team will get stronger on offense for the rest of the season.
Jalen Naylor has stepped up and had a pretty big game alongside him. Now, there's a big moment on the field. We were waiting to see who the Jet down was around the 30-yard line on that play. And the injured Jet is Sauce Gardner. He is coming off with his helmet still on, under his own power, but he did have to be seen by this training staff on the field for a period of time and is being taken down to the bench. We will keep an eye on Gardner. Doesn't look like he's going to go to the blue tent, but there are some conversations going on with training staff. In fact, he is headed to the blue tent now, just after I've said that. Didn't seem to know where it was on this field. Pre-snap penalty on the Minnesota Vikings. That is going to be a full start with a start at the 49-yard line. That's going to push them back into their own half, negating some of those yardage on the big gain. But yet, Sauce Gardner into the blue tent down in front of us, followed in by 3 or 4 medical staff. That could be a huge loss for this Jets defense. We'll watch as the second half continues. Isaiah Oliver going out there as an additional nickel corner alongside the 2 safeties. They play that kind of 3 safety, 2 corners look a lot, where it's a nickel corner technically, but it's actually 3 safeties on the field. And we're seeing that again now. Right, Darnold under centre, 1st and 15 from the 46. Addison in motion, swing motion, back out to the left. He's going to take this a straight 5 steps off and find Addison right around the marker of the initial drive, picks up the 5 yards that they lost on the penalty, and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 49.
And this is where if Kevin O'Connell is himself, he'll pick on the fact that Sauce Gardner is not on the field. That means there's a mismatch with either Addison or Jefferson. Expect them to lean more on the passing game than the run game. Aaron Jones is out. Sauce Gardner for the defense is out. They need to capitalize on that.
Brandon Eccles into the game at left corner, and Addison is on that side of the field. They threw at DJ Reed on that opening play, but they do go 5 wide on this one with Darnold in the gun. Calls for the snap. Streaks upfield. Naylor is available. He's pressured in the pocket and eventually he's brought down in the pocket. Excellent work just as it looked like he was about to escape the arms of Leonard Taylor. Instead, brought down for about a 4-yard loss, and it's going to be 3rd and long from the 46-yard line of the Vikings.
Yeah, Sam Darnold just almost evades the rush, but then Taylor gets his arm out and brings him to the floor. But this is what the Jets are doing well. They've got a great D-line, they've got a great pass rush, and they're using that secondary. Although they have Sauce Gardner on the field, the Vikings haven't been able to make the most of that opportunity.
That is another sack for this Jets D-line. What will they do on 3rd and 15? Jefferson moves across the formation from right to left, tracked by Isaiah Oliver. It goes to Darnold. Quick snap. Lots of pressure up the middle, but he has time and goes for a check down to Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler just has to make one man miss, and he does just get a little stutter step initially past his man, but a toe-tap tackle at the 45-yard line, and that's going to be 4th and 6th, and the punt unit will come out for the Minnesota Vikings. Big stop for the New York Jets.
And this Jets defense is actually ascending. You're seeing that they're really figuring out what this Vikings offense is trying to do, and that all starts with the pass rush and then coverage.
Yeah, sacks on the day already for Isaiah Oliver, Will McDonald, Michael Clements, and now Taylor on top of that. 4 sacks, 4 players. Darnold is eating turf a little bit too often for the Vikings' liking, and it might be a 10-score game. But with this punt, looking like it's going to go out of the end zone. Lovely little tap back into possession. A brilliant play from the Vikings gunner, Trent Sherfield Sr., and that's going to pin the Jets all the way back inside their own 5-yard line.
Olympic medalists coming thick and fast. The big stars are out, and Matt Hudson-Smith, I'm delighted to say, joins us now. We were just watching, hi Matt, we were just watching the game and talking about whether you could ever play, right? Because you've got the pace, I mean, we know that.
Definitely. No, I'll get folded like a lawn chair, honestly.
You would say quarterback, maybe,
yeah,
right?
Maybe trying to dish out the pain, but even then, seeing the size of him, it's
I
just
want
absolutely
Christian
crazy.
to come and stand alongside Matt,
Yeah.
because I don't think, I think if you box
well, let's see.
like,
Yeah.
it's not a huge difference there.
No, there's definitely,
you can
there's
definitely play.
No, I've
That's
seen
like Mike Williams. You could definitely play.
No, the size of you, mate, compared to me is honestly ridiculous.
He's been there, done it, so take his word for it, take that. So we were talking about how you got into the game, and I guess because you obviously spent a lot of time in the States.
Yeah, most definitely.
LSU, you were talking specifically, so you know Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase.
Joey Burrows, like honestly, like just being in the States, it kind of replaced football, or now on an American show, like, or we're talking about American soccer. So you know, being in America, it definitely, you know, one of my team and my favorite players, Lamar Jackson, and then just started following the sport and just enjoying it. Really, it's very different, and you know, just learning the tendencies, just the tactical awareness and everything like that, and just the athleticism of it is just amazing to watch, and especially to see him in live.
So with Lamar, does that make you a Ravens fan?
I'm definitely a Ravens fan. He's my favorite player of them all. Like,
what do you like about it, the way he plays?
I just like his story, the underdog story. You know what I mean? Everyone just wrote him off, and they keep proving everybody wrong.
He's criminally underrated, isn't he?
Criminally underrated.
Lamar. I mean, you know,
with 2 MVPs.
People
still underrate him.
Criminally underrated with 2 MVPs does sound a little bit of a.
But he is. I reckon you talk about you know, Mahomes, Burrow.
He's never really in the conversation. Like when he was getting drafted, everyone looked past him, and like I think that brought the chip on his shoulder. And I just like that story that, you know, he's always trying to prove everyone wrong, and he's trying to get that chip, which I honestly hope he gets, because like just to make him into like a legend in itself. Yeah. Like he's already a legend, but just to solidify it and just to shut the critics up, it would be amazing.
Yeah, because all that knock at the playoffs, and he's not as strong with his arm. Yeah. And the Ravens, of course, very much in the mix this season. They're looking serious. Aren't they?
With Derrick Henry, you know, and then the defense is just amazing. So, but also, you know, the Vikings are doing pretty well, and you know, they're facing the Bengals today. I don't know if they're winning or not, but yeah, it's definitely great.
From your perspective, then, I mean, you're talking about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and body shapes and things like that, like saying that you couldn't do it. He slimmed down this year in order to get a bit more pace, in order to get a bit more run. Like,
you know,
I'm just saying.
You know what? Maybe because I live in England. If I was in America, I'd definitely, like I said, when I was on the pitch, I was sizing them up, and I was like, maybe, but like, when I have some sons and that, I'll definitely make them do football.
After that unbelievable special teams play from the Minnesota Vikings, Rodgers is taking the snap at his own 3 in his own end zone. Just has to find Tyler Conklin on the dump off. It'll be back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a 1-yard gain there, trying to free up a bit of space, this Jets offense, but still very much short of the first down marker. 2nd and 9 now, ball at the 4, Christian.
And this is where the Brian Flores experience really pays dividends for the Vikings, because they're backed up. We've already seen a pick 6 from the defensive lineman, and so now in this situation, if you want to run the ball, you've got to get it out, otherwise it's going to be a safety. If you want to throw it, there's not really much space before you've got a defensive lineman in your face.
They hurry up to the line of scrimmage with Rodgers in the gun. 2 receivers left, a running back in alongside him. Heavy set line to the right. Do they hand off the ball here? No, he throws for a straight 5-step drop, finds a quick throw out to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson out to the first down marker, up against Stephon Gilmore, and that's huge for relieving the pressure on this Jets offense. 1st and down from the 12.
This is where they need to run the ball now.
1st and 10 from the 12. I said 1st and down. I was just correcting myself. You get very excited. This is what happens, right? Matt Hudson-Smith is leaving us now. That's very disappointing, very sad to see, but he's got to go off and do more important stuff. So let's return to the play on the field. Rodgers with a big first down, key to getting this drive going. They're now going to be 1st and 10 from their own 12. Alan Lazard just jogging across the formation. 2 receivers on that left-hand side. The handoff would be the obvious thing, but they do throw in the middle to Garrett Wilson, who slips on the turf at the 29-yard line. The ball thrown behind him yet again, and that is going to be 2nd and 10 from the 12.
Not to blame the weather, but it has changed. It's now drizzling. There's now a strong and thick cloud of rain descending on the pitch, and you do have to wonder. The game they played last week, it wasn't very expansive, it wasn't very attractive because of the weather conditions, and now they've got to mount a comeback of a 10-point deficit in the rain in London.
So 2nd and 10 as it does start to tick down from the grey skies above us in North London. Rodgers in the gun, 2 receivers wide, 1 left, takes the snap, looks to that right-hand side, a little bit jittery in the pocket, but manages to evade pressure and goes for a deep shot downfield, looking for Alan Lazard, and this time it's Josh Metellus that slips on a possible interception around the 35, and it'll be 3rd and 10 deep in Jets territory.
We've heard in the past some complaints about players not wearing the right cleats for this surface, and until now there haven't been too many players falling over and slipping. But on that one play alone, I think you saw, one player supermaning to try and knock the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hand before he throws the ball. But then also on these breaks, the pitch is getting a little bit slick.
I'm going to complain about the Brazil game in a minute on that very thought, but we'll get to that. Let's instead get to this huge 3rd down. The stadium at Tottenham getting loud. Rodgers checking the play at the line of scrimmage, gets the quick snap, 3 receivers to his right, he's looking in that direction, he's under huge amounts of duress, that's to throw the ball away to Breece Hall as he's brought down by an absolute envelope of purple, crushing him in the backfield, and that is going to be a 4th down and a punt from deep in their own territory.
And this is the problem, the conditions now make it tough to throw, and you haven't shown that you've been able to run the ball, so now the Vikings can sell out on the pass.
Big meeting at the quarterback, and that very quarterback is down and holding the back of his left hamstring. He looks in trouble here. Aaron Rodgers missed the entirety of last season after tearing his Achilles just 4 snaps into his offensive year, and now holding his hamstring down on the field. Fortunately, at least with the fact that they have had the 3 and out, he will have some time to recover here, but is it going to be Tyrod Taylor time in London with Rodgers up on his own merit, walking off the field, no support, but he does not look happy at all right now.
And he's coming off of a game last week where he was roughed up, had a bang on his knee, and then had to get an international flight to London. So you have to wonder how much of him is really thinking, it's raining in London, I've been beaten up a bit last week, I've been beaten up a bit today, where's his championship mindset coming in?
I've got to tell you, by the way, coming up, one of my we've been rotating through a few Olympic medalists here on the panel at Tottenham. One of my favourite stories from all of Paris 2024, as we brought it to you on talkSPORT. Sensational. I loved your post-interview. I loved your performance, but we're going to get to it in a moment because first we've got to have this punt. On the right, on the goal line, manages to get it away. It's a huge booming punt out past the 40. Really big pressure. Great challenge from the gunner. And the Vikings are going to end up with the ball around about their 36. That's about as good an outcome without a turnover as you could hope for there, as a absolutely barreling I believe it was Irvin Charles in on that challenge. That is an absolutely huge moment, but also will answer the question on Aaron Rodgers' health, because a roughing the kicker call on Thomas Morstead is going to give the Jets a first down at the 14. Massive, massive moment. But Aaron Rodgers, helmet on, back out onto the field, Nat.
Yeah, so he's walking down to the blue 10, and he was just about to go in. Then he obviously gets wind of what's going on, immediately doubles back. And I've got to say, just to the naked eye, not moving too gingerly. Mobility seemed fine, CSW. And as Will says, he's gone right back in. So there's the answer to your question. Is he up for it on a rainy Sunday night in London? It seems to be that he is.
That moves the ball all the way out for a 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. As fortune favoured Gang Green on this occasion, because that penalty keeps this game alive. Rodgers in the gun, Breece Hall behind him, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Big tight end set, which would suggest he's handing the ball off, and he does, and Breece Hall finds a hole, gets past first man, gets past the second and out for a 10-yard gain to the 38-yard line. Biggest run of the day for Breece Hall, found a big hole, couldn't quite get past the secondary, because if that last tackle doesn't happen, Christian Scotland-Williamson, he's going home.
He's breaking it for a big one, and this is where I think they're getting some success, is those outside zone runs to the 7th gap, to the 7th man, where they're playing 2 tight ends. They split the tight ends, send one in motion, and then run it behind the edge.
So Rodgers, after that big first down, out to the 39-yard line. He's under centre. Breece Hall behind him. 2 tight ends again to the left. 2 receivers. He moves the tight end across the formation and gives the ball again to Breece Hall. But this time, he's going absolutely nowhere. Tackled in the backfield by Jonathan Grenard, who has had the absolute making of Olu Fashanu on that side of the line today, the rookie right tackle. And that's going to be a loss of about a yard on the play. In fact, they're going to mark it back at the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10 from the 39.
They haven't had any success through the middle, and it's those outside zone runs that they need to lean on more, because this interior of the Vikings defense is having so much success against the guard and center for the Jets.
I love Jonathan Grenard so much. That move over to Neil Hunter and him essentially swapping teams in the Texans and Vikings, and both being successful this year. Sensational to see. Rodgers takes the snap in the gun, evades pressure over the middle, finds Garrett Wilson for another 10-yard gain, maybe 11 or 12 as he fights for it. 3 or 4 Vikings defenders coming in on the tackle in the end, but out to the 50-yard line, and the Jets finally getting something a little bit rolling in this second half. 4:27 left in the third.
Small and efficient, stay ahead of the chains, 4-5 yards of play. That is exactly what they need. They haven't shown that they could do anything explosive or anything deep down the field thus far, but if they can keep progressing up the field, keep that offense on the field, keep the Jets defense fresh, that will really make the difference today.
Josh Metellus and Cam Grugier-Hill in on the tackle of Garrett Wilson. 1st and 10 from the 50. Rodgers in the gun. Breece Hall alongside him. 3 receivers left. Heavy tight end set on the right of the line. The Vikings bring blitz. Hall is available on the check down. Gets it on the check down, but no blockers out there. He still manages to pick up about 4 yards on the play. Garrett Wilson, expecting the ball to come to him, ends up not being able to provide the support to Breece Hall.
And this is where you're seeing somewhat of a risk-averse play style from Aaron Rodgers, where he's feeling the pressure, he's just trying to get the ball out so it's not a negative play. He doesn't take the sack and just eke away at 2, 3, 4 yards of play, and that's exactly what they're doing.
There is a Minnesota Viking down on the field. It's been blown dead by the official. It's Ivan Pace Jr., who did miss a significant chunk of time this season already. Didn't play the last 2 weeks with an ankle injury and does go down holding his leg. So in the meantime, I'm going to go back to Nat. And Emily Campbell's with us.
Emily Campbell, great to see it. Now, what Will was teasing and alluding to earlier, I think, maybe one of the great celebrations we've seen in the history of the Olympic Games.
Yeah, thank you. I had a great time out there, as everyone can see, and I love being, out there and eccentric. And it's a bit like the NFL today. Everything's done extra, and that's definitely me.
Everything's turned up to a level. Well, this is your first NFL game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And honestly, you've definitely converted me into a fan. It's fantastic. Great. The environment. There's not a seat left in here. The noise is nuts. And it's really chaotic on the pitch. It's a bit like a party.
Yeah.
Because obviously on the TV it's very stop-starty, but you see it all here.
There's so much going on. There's so much action. You were right in the thick of it as well for the coin toss, right?
Absolutely, yeah. The coin toss was an honour, and obviously seeing them all warm up and get ready, and they're all very in sync when they warm up, which is pretty cool to watch. So yeah, what a fantastic experience.
Now, as somebody who is absolutely expert at celebrations, you must have thought about, if you got into the end zone, how you'd celebrate a touchdown.
Yeah, definitely. It'd have to be my fantastic cartwheel, wouldn't it?
Well,
You know
of
what I mean?
course.
Like, why would it not
There
be?
is not enough space in this press box, unfortunately, because I'd love to have seen it live and in action. Emily, we'll come back to you in a moment, but the Jets are back out onto the field. 2nd and 7 from the 47, 3:20 left in this third quarter, down by 10. Rodgers moves Lazard across the formation, looks to hand the ball off. It's a fake, and instead Braylon Allen makes the catch out to the 40, down to the 35, absolutely untouched until he gets to the 30, when eventually he's chased down by Blake Cashman, the former Texans and actually former Jets linebacker, but a big gain gets them down to the 32.
And this is where they're having success. They're sending the receivers deep, clearing out that secondary, and then leaking the running back out late for a check down, and then he's able to turn it up for yards. I think that's the key to this offense at the moment.
Rodgers back in the gun again. Braylon Allen alongside him. 3 receivers to the right, a tight end left in the formation on the left-hand side of the line. Now Lazard crosses the formation to join him. Nothing shown by that Vikings defense. Braylon Allen goes to the left-hand side of that line and finally starts to get a little bit of play on the ground as well. The big rookie back down to the 25-yard line. He's the youngest touchdown scorer in NFL history. He's a huge 235 pounds and 6'1" at the running back position out of Wisconsin. And that's how they need to use him, like a tank up front, barreling through defenses.
And establish this run game. This saves Aaron Rodgers from having to make any miracle throws that haven't been happening.
2nd and 3 from the 25. Jets looking to make this a one-score game with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Braylon Allen remains in there. Garrett Wilson one-on-one with Stephen Gilmore to the left. But Rodgers looks to that side. He's under some pressure. The ball is out. The ball is down.
Was there a receiver
in
the
the area?
area?
What are they going to call that? Because was that a throwaway? It looked like it might be a fumble. Yeah, Braylon Allen was in the area, so as he threw the ball into the ground, Braylon Allen is considered an eligible receiver and actually comes off the field holding his left hand, looking like it might be hurting. And so now a 3rd and 3 after that unsuccessful second down conversion. Again, a bit of B-flow magic, getting some pressure up front there for the Vikings.
And the problem with the Vikings defensive front is they can put 8 on the line, and then it's a guessing game of, are they going to drop into zone or are they going to bring the pressure?
8 on the line and drop 8. It's absolutely ridiculous. Rodgers stamps his foot. Brees all alongside him. It's going to be a passing play. 3 yards back, goes over the middle. Caught down at the 15. The judge on this side is saying that's a catch for Garrett Wilson. Contacted by Harrison Smith and Andrew Van Ginkel. It bobbled as he caught it, but they're saying his hands were underneath it. I'm watching back on the monitors down here, but Rodgers is getting up to the line and snapping this one quickly, which he does. Gets it off. Little pass out to the right-hand side to his tight end, Tyler Conklin. Picks up about a yard on the play, but I think most importantly, stop them from reviewing that Garrett Wilson catch.
Very smart play. But what was great about the ball positioning and the ball placement of that pass to Garrett Wilson is you have to have your big boy pants on if you're Garrett Wilson going in there, double coverage. But what Aaron Rodgers does, he goes belt buckle and below, protects his player.
14-yard line then for a 2nd and 8 after the 2-yard pickup. Brees Hall in the backfield. 2 receivers to the left, extra tight end on the line, heavy set. Garrett Wilson on the right with Stephon Gilmore travelling with him. He makes a little cut inside, goes back out to the outside. Wilson picks up maybe 4 on the play, out for a 3rd and 2. It's going to be from the 8-yard line. Nice route running from Garrett Wilson, but no opportunity to pick up the extras needed.
A nice whip route on the outside, maybe a bit too much space in terms of the time of the throw to really beat the defender, good coverage. But what we're seeing is Aaron Rodgers start to go to Wilson and trust him to make the catches.
30 seconds left on the third quarter, but there has been a call from the referee. Play has been stopped. Is this a timeout on the field? Is this just because they are substituting? They're putting a foot on the ball and they're letting... They have stopped this clock. They've not made any indication of whether it's a timeout or not. But they did allow the Vikings to substitute, so I don't know if it was just that the Jets had made some changes. And
timers, please reset the game clock to 56 seconds, and let's do 40 seconds on the play clock. 56 and 40.
No explanation as to why from Scott Novak. Because it's going down as an incomplete pass. That's why. There we go. Ball hit the ground, incomplete pass. They've moved it back. It's going to be a 3rd and 8. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that in the end, because I had no clue what was going on there whatsoever, Nat Coombs. Right, huge down. 3rd and 8. Ball on the 14. Vikings defense out on the field. Their 2 corners are currently sat on the ball in the middle. as before, breaking out to the left when they see that's where the receivers are heading. Rogers in the gun. Brees Hall with him. Lazard, White, Wilson all to his left. Conklin, potential to leak out on the right or stay in to block the blitz. Harrison Smith checks for the defense. They only bring 4. Chance to go to Lazard in the end zone, and it's down on the floor. Stephon Gilmore, blanket coverage, thrown low, like Christian Scotland-Williamson talked about, protecting his man, protecting the ball, but also not offering opportunity at the touchdown, and they'll have to settle for the field goal to make this a 7-point game.
And you do feel like it was there for the taking, but good coverage from Stephon Gilmore. So he could have maybe even, because Alan Lazard is a much bigger man, thrown it up high, but there wasn't really much open. The pocket was collapsing around him, so he had to get rid of the ball. And Alan Lazard just couldn't flip his hips and get low enough to catch the ball.
So a 32-yard field goal for Greg Zuerlein, his second of the day, because they've got 17 points. Well done. Ball is down, snap is good, hold is good, and the ball is straight through the uprights. It is his first of the day. It's a 17-10 game. Vikings lead the Jets. I'm all over the shop. I'm going back to Nat Coombs.
The Garrett Wilson factor is interesting because we talked about at the top CSW, and he's had 14 targets. His 9 receptions, the most he's had this season so far. So they're finally getting that connect. I've got to ask a team, because if it's your first game, Emily, are you going to go with either Vikings or Jets, or have you already made a pick?
I mean, I don't know, but obviously we've been swayed towards the Vikings today with it being their home game, and they are very, very impressive. So I might have to just go back and do my research and then come out with who my team's going to be.
It's not a bad start, to be honest, to go with them, given what you've seen them firsthand. Obviously, you have that connection with them. They've started the season pretty strongly, so they're a definite contender to go deep. So that will make a lot of sense. Talk us through what the last few weeks have been like after the Olympics. What's your life been like? Have you had time to reflect on the success?
Yeah, most definitely. I disappeared quite selfishly on holiday straight away because I thought I need a break. So it's a sunny beaches of Jamaica, which is very nice. But then it's been nice. It's been getting out, seeing people, meeting new people, doing new things, trying new experiences, which is fantastic. And, you know, again, just trying to promote our sport of weightlifting. Obviously, I love it and I want the world to love it. So, yeah, it's been amazing.
Loving the rings on the necklace as well. Love to see that.
Shout out to parents for that.
and look, I'm intrigued with what you make of the athleticism here, because we've got a guy like Harrison Phillips, who we interviewed, the defensive lineman for the Minnesota Vikings, who we had this week. This guy is like, I'm going to get you the actual stats on exactly how big he is, which means turning our attention back to the
here we go.
To the
of
Bible.
Course he gets it on camera again.
6'3", 307. And yet he moves like he does a 40-yard dash in less than 5 seconds. Like he's built like a weightlifter but runs like a sprinter. It's insane.
Well, this is the thing for us, obviously, with weightlifting. You know, it starts from people really, really small that weighs really, really big. And we see the supers, and obviously we see 180-kilo men moving very, very gracefully a lot of the time. So it's quite similar in that fact. And obviously to see them on the pitch, it's really impressive. And at first, like when they all come running out, I was like, oh, this team looks kind of small. And then next minute, defensive line came out, and I was like, there's the thick boys. Now it all makes sense. So, yeah, it's really amazing, obviously, to see such stiff body types out on there doing their thing and running around. And, yeah, it's very similar in weightlifting in that fact.
Oh, well, we're delighted you're enjoying it. Delighted we've got an NFL convert as well. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Love it. Emily Campbell joining us as we get ready for the kickoff. 17-10 game with 50 seconds left in the third quarter. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much. Just doing this all live on air and shaking our hand and saying thank you. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us via our live stream going on right now on the talkSPORT Endzone YouTube channel. We are hearing from a few people there who are getting a little bit positive about the Jets' opportunities here, who believe that there's a possibility, just a little possibility, that they're going to come back in this game. Don't forget, if you are there, to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out some of the other content we've been getting there. But yeah, Vikings need to put something together on this drive. Is this the moment we get a Sam Darnold absolute classic 8 minutes chewing the clock, or do we fancy the Jets defense here?
I think I fancy the Jets defense. They've come up trumps for the past 2 quarters really, and the Vikings haven't really had the answer. They've not really done anything that leaves you thinking they're schematically dominating this Jets defense. It's actually the opposite. They haven't been able to run the ball on the interior, and actually the Jets defense have kept everything in front of them, and the secondary's played well. Message
of the day so far in the group is from my wife, who has messaged he'll be wowing Rodgers if he loses today. Thanks, Sarah. Absolutely love that. I hope the Twins are doing all right. Handoff from Sam Darnold to Ty Chandler on first down from the 30. Breaking out to the outside. gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be a 2nd and 10 as this Jets defence continue to fire up here. Our producer up on the gantry, Will Varney, who did a lot of those interviews you'll see on the YouTube channel, is a big Jets fan, and I've been watching the roller coaster of emotions he's been going in. Right now, I think I'm just seeing a little bit of hope.
There's a bit of hope, optimism. It's the hope that kills you there.
I think all Jets fans worldwide can agree it's the hope that kills you. Darnold at the 25-yard line, ready to take the snap. 2nd and 10 from the 30. Got a running back in alongside him. It's Ty Chandler with Aaron Jones out of the game. Big blitz pickup by him. Big ball downfield, looking for Justin Jefferson. And a late flag on the play. DJ Reed, hands all over each other there. And that is going against the Jets. And that's going to move the ball into Jets territory.
Even though it doesn't appear on his stats, Justin Jefferson has caused a lot of penalties for this Jets defense. We can't contain him. It's either a hold or a pass interference call, and ultimately that's giving artificial yardage to this Vikings offense.
Right, I know I'm meant to be neutral as a commentator on the game. What I want to see is just a great game here in London. Do you know, 7 of the 8 games here at Tottenham have been decided by a touchdown or less. Like, we have good games here. That is a nonsense call. Justin Jefferson pushes off him, and then somehow he gets the flag against him. That is a dreadful call. Scott Novak, get your team in gear. Either way, at the 45-yard, Darnold fakes the handoff. He's got 3 receivers streaking downfield. He's going to go for it all. He's going to go for it deep to Justin Jefferson. Underneath it, but it's just over his back shoulder. Brilliant coverage from DJ Reed. Never got his head around Jefferson. And the deep shots just aren't working for the Vikings right now.
Not at all. And going back to what you said, last time the Vikings played in London, it was decided by one kick that hit the post against the Saints.
The double doink.
The double doink. We'll be seeing a double doink. The return of the double doink in London.
One can only hope. You are listening to NFL Live on talkSPORT 2 and here on the Endzone YouTube channel. Go there, check it out. Our live watch along with our brilliant guests alongside us, Olympians, UFC guys, and don't forget that we'll be doing lots of action from the winning locker room after the game as well. Exclusive interviews with a bunch of players down there as well. So make sure to check that out on the YouTube channel as well. While Sweet Caroline rings out around North London, we're going to take a break. How do you feel about Sweet Caroline at a game?
Every time.
CSW, do you mean every time you want it every time, or... Come on, get that down. We're on YouTube.
I feel like it's a staple at all British sporting events since the Euros. I like it. Gets the crowd going. You know what you're getting. Bit predictable, but it's still a good sing-along.
I love in Germany when they do Denver. Country roads, take me home to the place. That's what you don't get on talkSPORT 2. You don't get me dancing and singing like an idiot. And trying to eat a fruit pastel while broadcasting. This is horrendously unprofessional. But that's the great stuff you get. A few more messages. Matt Butler says, Jets will always be the Jets. Pamela says, Vikings, take it home, 5-0. Skull from Matt Johnson. And again, a few more people calling us to call the game. We can't show the game. We are a radio station here in London doing our own commentary, but we get to show you us watching the game and enjoy the crowd giving it some beans. I was expecting Nat to come in on the so goods then. Disappointed he didn't.
Missed a shot there, sorry.
End of the 4th quarter then, guys. Vikings are driving up near midfield, but those deep shots, unless there's a flag, really aren't working. Do we see a Jets come back? A one-score game?
I mean, if you'd asked me that question 5 minutes before the end of the first half, absolutely not. But the way that we've seen him come out, I think absolutely, yeah.
It now comes down to running the football in the rain.
Oh, 20. I thought we had like 5 seconds. Sorry, Christian. Sorry, Nat. That was totally on me. Sorry, YouTube followers.
I just looked down at the notes.
Now
I agree with you, running the ball in the rain.
Start the 4th quarter, Sam Darnold drops and ends up just having to throw it into the ground after big pressure up the middle from the former San Francisco 49er, Javon Kinlaw. He recently did an absolutely... He did an absolutely sensational interview with our very own Will Varney for the talkSPORT YouTube channel, where he wore sunglasses for the entire thing, despite being indoors at the facility. I absolutely loved it. I was so...
Will, I hope you wore sunglasses too, just imagine.
Disappointing that you didn't. Disappointing that you didn't.
Intentional grounding, I think.
3rd and 10. This is going to be... No, they're going from the same spot. Not intentional grounding. They did call it, but there was a man in the area. Right, Darnold in the gun. 3rd and 10. Big play. It's Kinlaw back up the middle again. He slips in his attempts to get to Darnold, but another man in his face, and Darnold has to throw the ball away. And it's a huge stop for the New York Jets defense. Javon Kinlaw with the initial pressure. Michael Clemens getting there at the end of the play. And there's a little bit of afters as this game gets a little bit tasty with 14:50 left in the 4th quarter.
That was a big question mark. Was defense going to decide this game today? And now it started to rain. They're going to expect to run the ball. But as we've seen from the Vikings, they've actually not done much. They've scored 1 touchdown in this game, obviously. But the past 2 quarters, it's been very quiet. It's been all Jets defense.
People who are watching us on the live stream, talkSPORT Endzone, will be glad to know the Twins are fine. The wife has got back to me. Said, I watched the live stream for ages to see if you'd react to the Aaron Rodgers joke. I did. Thank you, honey. Wonderful stuff. Right, Vikings punt. It's going to be from the 40-yard line. Setting up to pin the Jets deep. Xavier Gibson back there has 1 big return today already, but a high looping punt headed towards out of bounds. Bounce to the 5-yard line, gives a Vikings bounce, and that's going to pin the Jets incredibly deep. What a fantastic punt. Cam Grugier-Hill in on the coverage. Ryan Wright with a huge punt for the Minnesota Vikings. And if Aaron Rodgers is going to go and win this game of football, he's going to need to cover 95 yards of offense to do it.
And this is where special teams really makes a difference, because a long field for Aaron Rodgers to now have to drive down. I need them to run the ball early on this little pass.
Right, actually it's 93 yards. I will correct myself. They are starting from the 7-yard line. The Vikings defense looking a little bit gassed maybe after they were run on that last drive. The Vikings didn't stay on the field for very long. What can Brian Flores dial up? And on the other side of things, what can Aaron Rodgers deliver? Braylon Allen in the backfield alongside him. He's got bunch receivers to his left with Azard and White. Garrett Wilson manned up with Stephon Gilmore on the right of the formation. Snaps the ball, hands it off to Braylon Allen. Allen rumbling up the middle, gains about 3 yards on the carry out to the 10, just giving a little bit of space to the offense, and that'll be 2nd and 7.
And this is where you need to give him the ball, give him the opportunity to get his momentum up, get ahead of steam, and then just fall forward for 3 yards in that situation.
14:22 left on the clock. Plenty of ball left to play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the first London game of the year. Don't forget, all 3 games will be live and exclusive for you here on talkSPORT 2, and you'll be able to watch the commentary on the talkSPORT Endzone YouTube channel. 17-10 game. Jets with the ball, down 7. 2nd and 7 from their own 10. Rodgers under centre, fakes the handoff, has some time, now pressured, now goes down at the 4-yard line, and there we have that Brian Flores magic, bringing Ivan Pace Jr. from the linebacker position to wrap up the legs of Aaron Rodgers, and it's another sack for the Vikings, and it's put them in a very difficult position to keep this drive going.
The problem is there's not enough space to run that play action when you're backed up like that. They only got an extra 3 yards from the play before, and it's a very condensed area where the defensive line can get on top of Aaron Rodgers because he's got no space to go anywhere.
Sacks left, right and centre for this Vikings defence today, and this whole season really. But it's all come from the linebacker position. Rodgers is going to have to take this snap. 3rd and 13, getting loud. He is in his own end zone. He's under pressure, rolling out to the right, has to throw the ball away in the direction of Garrett Wilson, and they'll be punting from deep, right at the back of the end zone, down 7 points, as the Vikings defense and Brian Flores show up big.
And this is the problem with being backed up. This is where special teams and complementary football, if you look at the Vikings team, the offense didn't really do anything in that drive. Special team comes up big, backs up Aaron Rodgers so he can't get anything going. And then the defense comes up trumps, gives him the ball back. And now probably going to be advantage Minnesota with the field position off of this punt.
I never got to complain about the situation in Brazil. We'll do that in the 4th quarter at some point. I also never got to talk about my Thomas Morstead love. There's so much for us to still get to in this 4th quarter, as well as a great game of football. As Morstead booms a punt right out the back of the end zone. It's going to be picked up about the 43, stumbling down. Brandon Lloyd had an opportunity, Brandon Powell, to return that one, but he's hit by his own man and drops down around the 35-yard line. And there are some afters on the field. Big groups of purple and white. meeting on the ball. You hear the call there, a dumbass play. Somebody shouted from the middle of that scrum. Theo Jackson, the safety and special teamer, very much in on that argument and that conversation. Also Irvin Charles, who's had a few big special teams plays today. But in the end, the Vikings will get the ball around the 40. 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 1st and 10, up 7. Trying to put this one to bed live on talkSPORT 2. Thank you, mate. Oh.
Defense.
Is there a spare water anywhere?
Yeah.
Is that gone live out on YouTube? That's what you want. YouTube audience.
Again, pulling the veil back.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Boy, did I need it.
Pleasure.
There's a lot of talk. Actually, interesting thing. Questions coming in about where people are in the UK. Sam Roberts gets such as let's get in touch. Bengals. Valerie asking who's going to win, Panthers or Bears. I tell you who's not going to win. The people who watch that game of football. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
That deserves a Sopranos.
Sam Roberts says he's in Manchester. Matt's asking for northern-based football fans. They have been able to stop attending games in London. I think it's a really interesting question, right?
Yeah.
Dublin, it's happening. If not next year, the year after.
Yeah.
Spain, we already know is happening at the Bernabeu next year. Could the NFL look and say Scotland, Manchester,
I think
somewhere like that?
We talked about it as far back as I can remember, right? And for obvious reasons, and yeah, I'm with you. It's getting harder and harder. Dublin, as you say, that is a lock. But the college game in Dublin as well. We're out there again this summer for that. That is worth a look, by the way, if you haven't checked it out, because much like the NFL, it's a regular season college game that is played. The season kickoff, you had ESPN Game Day in the house. Pat McAfee in Dublin was a marriage made in heaven, quite frankly. So, yeah, I think it's situations like that, different European cities, that make it more likely, for sure, that we'll see a game in Glasgow.
Stadium availability is an issue for a few people who are getting in touch on that point. The Etihad is probably the only place that has a wide enough and deep enough field.
Yeah.
There's not a lot beyond that, but it was one we'll keep discussing.
Yeah.
We've got to get back to doing live commentary.
Welcome back to NFL Live on talkSPORT 2. We're deep into this one, into the fourth quarter, and it is close. The Vikings offense hasn't got anything rolling in this second half, much like last week against Green Bay. It'll be fascinating to see if they can capitalize now on decent field position after that punt return and put some more points on the board, because at the moment it's a one-score game, Will Gavin.
So 1st and 10 from the 37, Darnold in the gun. Jefferson, who's had a quiet day in terms of actual receptions, but has drawn a lot of flags, moves from left to right. Darnold in the gun, he has time, and he's going to look to Jefferson down that side. Jefferson blanked it, it's going to be over his head. No laundry on the play. 2nd and 10 at the 37. That's 3 or 4 times now Darnold's gone for it all to Jefferson, and he's been covered brilliantly. Are they just looking for flags at this point?
I think he's just playing aggressive. I think he's going to his man who he knows can win one-on-one. And I like the fact that he looks at the left side of the field, nothing open, goes back and thinks, I'm going to throw it up, see if he can make a play on the ball, but just a little bit too much on it.
Brandon Eccles, the 4th-year man out of Kentucky, who's in the nickel, playing in place of the injured Michael Carter on the coverage. Darnold again under centre. He's got Addison and Jefferson to his left, but Jefferson now moves in motion from left to right. There's a little dump off to his running back, who picks up maybe 3 yards on the play. A reminder, if you've just joined us on this drive, Aaron Jones out of the game, so that is Myles Gaskin, the 6th-year man, former Miami running back, in on that one, and he's only going to pick up 2, so 3rd and 8 from the 35.
And that's where you lose some of the versatility of Aaron Jones in the screen game, because that's what he really can feast on, but we haven't really seen that much of that today.
From here, it would be a 52-yard field goal. Definitely makeable for the rookie. His long this year is 58. They look to pick up some chunk yardage. Surely they're looking to get into the end zone, of course. Darnold drops back. He's going to go for it all in one play. Addison out to the left. There was contact. The ball goes out of bounds, but nothing called. No flags on the play. Again, the man in coverage. The defender nearest was Brandon Eccles, but that is going to be a 4th and 10, and they are going to set up for a long field goal try for Will Ricard. I say that? Yes, they are. I saw the punter going out there. Of course, he's the holder as well. But he stood so deep back from the play. I'm like, hold on. Are you going to punt this from here? Unbelievable decision. It's a 53-yarder they're set up for then. Andrew DePaula to snap the ball. Snap is good, hold is good, ball is up in the air. Will Rijkaard, the rookie, remains perfect on the season. A 53-yarder makes this game the Minnesota Vikings 20, the New York Jets 10, 12 minutes and 7 left on the clock. Will Aaron Rodgers get to 200 yards on the day? We'll find out up next here on talkSPORT 2. It is mad, guys, for the people who are watching on the YouTube channel, just how heavily weighted this game is in terms of time of possession, yardage, first downs. Like, the Jets only have 30 rushing yards in this game so far, and yet somehow they're still very much in this game. It's astonishing.
They really are, and I guess that even then the Vikings will, given the field position they started that drive with, they're going to be frustrated, and you've got to hand to the Jets D, who are putting in an absolute shift this afternoon. But they are testament to keeping them in this game right now. And we've got to see what Rodgers is going to dial up here, because the ground game, as you rightly point out, Will, isn't working. Do they lean on it a little bit? It'd be really interesting to see the plays that are called with Nathaniel Hackett. We talk a little bit about him. We use the term much maligned a few times on this show. Hackett seems to be a figure of derision, I guess. And when you see this ineffectual and confused Jets offense, is it because he's been marginalized and this is Rodgers, it's the Rodgers show? Is that why Rodgers likes working with him, because he wants somebody that is subservient? What's your read on Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah, I mean, that is the line, right, isn't it? It's Rodgers wants his guy so he can do whatever he wants. Hackett 4-11 as the Jets head coach, fired after his first year. He was the Packers offensive coordinator with Rodgers, but when Mike LaFleur's there, he's probably not carrying the bulk of the load in that situation, right? And yeah, okay, he coached Rodgers to 2 MVP awards, but how much of that is him coaching him, right?
Or situation.
Sure.
And it's just you're the Aaron Rodgers whisperer because he just likes cracking jokes and making office quotes to you.
But I guess the glass half full perspective is he has a way of bringing the best out of a brilliant player, right? Which isn't a straightforward attribute to necessarily have, and maybe underestimated.
I think you've gone glass quarter full at best there.
It is a 10-point ball game here in London into the fourth quarter. 12 minutes and change remaining. The Vikings looking to move to 5-0. One of only 2 teams with a perfect start to the season. The Jets, well, if they drop this one, they drop to 2-3, and they run the gauntlet through the rest of October into early November. So there is a huge amount riding on the next 12 minutes of football. The Jets offense will be getting on the field momentarily, and boy, do they need a big drive from Aaron Rodgers and co. as the Vikings kickoff goes all the way to the back of the end zone, collected, and the knee is taken at the back. So let's see what Rodgers can dial up this time.
Starting from the 30-yard line instead of the 3-yard line on this drive might give him a little bit more opportunity for the plays he can call. With 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter here, this game is definitely not done, but it has been a defensive battle so far. We've had a total yardage below 370 between these two teams. A total rushing yardage between these two teams of only 115. This has not been a game for people who are looking for high scoring, high offensive performance, but boy, for us defensive fans, it's been a great watch. Rodgers in the gun, starting from the 30, down 10. He moves Tyler Conklin from the left to the right of the formation. 2 receivers now to his left, 2 to the right. And it is to Conklin on the little check down. Forces Stephon Gilmore out of the way and manages to pick up 7 yards on a play which could have only gone for 2. Nice start to the drive. Second down.
You have to wonder if Stephon Gilmore made a bit of a business decision there. Instead of tackling the tight end, managed to just kind of dip the shoulders, show some effort, but let another man take care of the tackle.
All right, Antonio Pierce.
Spoken like a true tight end.
Did you invite the contact? Did you want it?
Oh, I loved it.
Unbelievable. Right, Rodgers in the gun. Brees Hall behind him. 2nd and 3. Ball on the 37. The Little show of blitz from Harrison Smith, but he drops back into coverage. Now will be a blitz off the other edge, and it is going to be a hit from the right-hand side. Rodgers goes down in the pocket. They look to overload the left-hand side, and then a free rusher in Harrison Phillips, the meaty defensive lineman of the Minnesota Vikings. A blur of purple right in Aaron Rodgers' face, and that's going to now be 3rd and long, 13 from the 27.
You really have to wonder, this play action is not working because the Vikings aren't really buying the run because they know that they don't have to honour it. So Aaron Rodgers just being hit in the backfield continuously, and you have to wonder, these last 2 games, will they take their toll on him, and we're not even a quarter of the way through the season.
Ref stopping the game here, just waiting to see. We didn't get a word of that. Scott, do you want to give us that again? Nope, he doesn't. They were just set up to make the play from 3rd and 13. The referee stopped the clock. There were 8 seconds left on the play clock. 10:54 on the clock overall. This is the second time they've had real clock issues, this officiating team. Now,
please set the game clock to 11 minutes, 11 seconds, 25 on the play clock. Thank you.
I think that's the second time today where they've made a big clock mistake. And the clocks are operated by the home stadiums, but this is the 9th game here at Tottenham. You shouldn't expect those kind of issues. 3rd and 15 then, 11:11 left on the clock, now rolling. 20-10, the Vikings lead the Jets. The Vikings fans making themselves loud on 3rd down. Rodgers in the gun, 2 receivers to his left, Mike White to his right, Breece Hall in alongside him. Second stamp, and he goes for it all, over the top to Garrett Wilson. Contact down the field. Was there a flag coming into play? Absolutely nothing. And alongside me with Shaq Griffin in coverage, Christian Scotland-Williamson. Can't believe that one's not called.
Same place as Justin Jefferson's that was called. I need some consistency. If you're not going to throw it, don't throw it all game. If you're going to throw it, give it to both sides. That was exactly the same as Justin Jefferson's, I think.
Yeah, I've got to say,
he might have slipped.
Well, Garrett Wilson didn't push off, so it shouldn't have been a penalty in the other direction. That's the difference. Punt for Thomas Morstead. Thomas Morstead, what's his place in NFL history, which we'll never see repeated again?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on, Nat.
What was the question?
Little NFL historian, Thomas Morstead, as he steps back for the punt. I'll call it first. All right. From the 15-yard line, all the way down to the 28. Brandon Powell is going to bring it out. He's contacted there, and down at the 25-yard line. Big play from Quintez Stiggers for the New York Jets.
Let me think about the question.
I'll tell you what, Thomas Morstead, we're going to discuss that on the live stream on the talkSPORT Endzone YouTube page. Well, on the radio, we take a little break for you.
I like that, driving the radio to the YouTube.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. Get on talkSPORT Endzone and watch us talk about punters.
Right, what was the question?
My question was Thomas Morstead. What's his place in NFL history, which now will never be repeated?
His place in NFL history, which will now
It's a great question.
Is he highest drafted punter?
He tells an incredible story about it as well.
Well, okay, so logic would prevail that it's got to be something that's now no longer attainable.
No longer attainable, can be done no longer. Think about the position he plays.
Well, it can't be length, it can't be distance, it can't be... Is in a stadium that's they're no longer playing?
No, it's a very famous play. Very, very famous play.
Hit me. Go on, tell me. I'm gonna kick myself.
He was the man who kicked the surprise onside
the onside kick
in the Super Bowl against the Colts.
Was.
Darnold tossing the ball out to Ty Chandler, picking up a few yards on 1st down. They got out of that break quickly, managed to pick up maybe just 1 on the play on the outside zone to the left. And that will be 2nd and 9 for the Minnesota Vikings. We're back live on talkSPORT 2. The Minnesota Vikings leading the New York Jets 20-10 in the 4th quarter. 10 minutes remaining. The Vikings can ice the game with a long drive here. All timeouts remaining though. And whilst defenses have dominated, all of the turnovers came in the first half. Can this Jets defense force something to get this game back on track? Showing pressure from 4, Darnold under centre. Jefferson in a swing motion, goes back out to the right with Jordan Addison there. They're manned up, the Jets. Darnold fakes the handoff, on play action, goes for it deep. Jordan Addison in the area, but the ball just bounces lithely at the 45 down the field, and that will now be a 3rd and 10 from the 17.
And that's strange because Sam Darnold usually has very clean footwork, but he kind of was hurried as he didn't plant his feet properly to step into that throw, and it comes up short. It didn't really have enough venom on it to be able to get to his man.
So from the 17, I think we're in for a potential blockbuster finish here. The game has been stop-start in the second half, I think it's fair to say. The defence is showing up in such a massive way. Aaron Jones, we're seeing down on the sideline, is still suited up. And he's not been ruled out yet. He's only been called questionable. And he's being shown on the TV broadcast. Do they know something that we don't? The Vikings started this game, and that's going to be a false start against the offence, I suspect. That's going to drive them back even further.
Offense number 71.
Scott Novak with the call. It's now going to be a 3rd and 15 from the 12-yard line. False start on the Minnesota Vikings. Tough penalty to take when you're already backed up deep into your own end. Don't remember what we were talking about just before that. Frustrating penalty to be giving up. The Jets defense need to be turning up. The Vikings started this game 4 of 5 on 3rd downs. They've gone 0 of 6 on 3rd downs since then. This would be a huge one if they can pick it up. And in this situation, you have to go to your special playmakers, and that's where they should be looking. And Darnold does go over the middle to Jordan Addison, and it's picked off! Picked off at the 40-yard line. Huge play by the New York Jets defense. We said a takeaway could turn this game around, and the man in for the injured Michael Carter, Brandon Eccles, takes the ball away from Sam Darnold, and Aaron Rodgers with a chance to come out and make this a one-score game. 9:47 left in the fourth quarter. Absolutely huge mistake by Sam Darnold.
And this is where you have to just wonder what he's seeing. He's trying to force the ball into a tough area, but is overthrown, and a great play by the Jets secondary to come up with the pick. Diving catch.
He's got Johnny Munt on a much shorter route there, decides to go for it all to Jordan Addison. And whilst not like, they're not 3 guys collapsing on top of him. It's not like that George Kittle touchdown last week where literally he had 3 guys on him. There were 3 guys around him. If the pass wasn't completely pinpoint, try saying that 5 times fast, then Sam Darnold is going to be picked off, and he was.
Sam Darnold is not having a good day, and I think that's been
Jets
overshadowed a
Darnold
bit.
has turned up.
Yeah, I mean, he's under 50% in terms of completion rate. His average distance per throw is 5.1. He's obviously taken quite a lot of damage from that Jets front as well, and he's airing up a pick like that, which gives the Jets fantastic field position.
Right. Aaron Rodgers in the gun from the 42-yard line. Delayed blitz from Irv Pace. Nice swing pass out to Alan Lazard for a 6-yard gain down to the 36-yard line. Good drive starter for the New York Jets. 2nd and 3, they're calling it from the 35.
And this is where the chess match starts. Do they abandon the run game and just trust Aaron Rodgers to get the job done in the air on short passes and just keep moving up the field?
I think the key thing is you've got to keep that Vikings defense honest, right? Is that running the ball? Is that little swing passes? Is that screens? Whatever it is, you don't want them getting to the quarterback, and they blitzed him there, and they're showing it again with Irv Pace Jr. again here. Breece Hall alongside Rodgers in for extra protection. Lazard and White to his left. He takes the snap and goes to Garrett Wilson on the other side at the 30. Cuts back inside, down to the 25, tackled by Stephon Gilmore, but he gets, most importantly, the Jets first down at the Vikings 25-yard line.
And this is where that protection really matters. I don't like when the Jets go play action, because it gives this Vikings defense a chance to really get on top of
Why
Aaron
give them
Rodgers.
an extra 2 seconds?
Exactly. Whereas quick game, short outs, get it to your receivers and trust Aaron Rodgers' arm.
I'm not a man who likes play action out of the gun. I wouldn't necessarily hate it here because it at least keeps the defense off a step. Generally, I hate it. Breece Hall in alongside Aaron Rodgers, set up to potentially do just that. Garrett Wilson to the left, Lazard and Mike White to his left-hand side, Wilson to the right. He looks to Wilson, nothing there, so goes over the middle, looking for Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin looks to haul it in, and it just hits the dirt in the end zone. That was a tight window throw from Aaron Rodgers. Conklin got his hands on the ball, but just couldn't haul it in for the touchdown.
And this is where Brian Flores, yes, they have the vaunted defense that disguises looks, but when they drop back into two safety zone coverages, that's when the tight end through the middle is an option, because that middle linebacker has to have his back turned the whole way, and there's an option to make a play on the ball into double coverage there.
25-yard line, New York Jets. Mike White to the right, Lazard and Garrett Wilson to the left. Breece Hall in right alongside Aaron Rodgers, who is in the gun. Stamps his foot once. Silent count. Goes over to the right side looking for Mike White. It's just an overthrow. Stephon Gilmore makes contact with White out there. There was never really anything on. And we're now into a 3rd and long situation. Protecting the ball there. They need 2 scores. A field goal isn't the end of the world here, Christian. But come on, at least pick up some yardage.
Exactly. You want to see them go a bit more aggressive. There was nothing on eternally.
They do go hurry up as Rodgers gets under centre. He's got time in the pocket. Throws over the middle. Finds Mike White at the 10-yard line. Down to the 7. Big play by the New York Jets as they go hurry up for Brian Flores' defence. And that's going to be first and goal from the Minnesota 7.
And that's exactly what we want to see. Change the tempo, change the cadence, and not let this Minnesota Vikings get set and just tee off on this Jets offensive line. Great decision there.
He found the soft point in the zone. Harrison Smith is playing so deep in that situation. Can he do it again here? 7:47 left on the clock. First and goal from the 7. Rodgers is in the gun. To his right, trips receivers, White, Lazard, and Wilson. Breece Hall is split out to his left with a tight end on the line, making it heavy set to pick up those extra blockers. The Vikings bring pressure. Flags down. What's the call? Scott Novak.
Prior to the ball being snapped, delay game on the offense.
Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal.
7:32 on the game clock.
Keep saying Mike White instead of Mike Williams. I know who I mean. Former Jets quarterback, current Jets wide receiver.
I mean, the first time he said Mike White, I thought, Mike White, the backup quarterback's out there? What have I missed?
No, actually, the BBC Hull reporter who also covers the NFL for them, that Mike White.
Mike White. Shout out Mike White.
That's a very niche joke for a very small number of people. Mike Williams out to the right with Wilson and Lazard inside. Breece Hall alongside Rodgers. It's now first and goal from the 12 after that delay of game penalty. Got to think the crowd had something to do with that. Ball is snapped. Pressure from the Vikings. It's a little dump off to Breece Hall. Hall out to the 6-yard line, 5-yard line, and out of bounds on the far side from us. Picking up just that little bit of yardage, getting it back down to the 7, and now be second and goal from the original position. They started this set of downs, 2nd and 7, second and goal.
And Aaron Rodgers is able to see that there's fake pressure, there's no blitz coming. They drop out and find the short pass to the running back to pick up some yards, keep moving forward.
Jeremy Ruckert comes out of the game, an extra wide receiver goes in. Mike Williams to the left of the formation. We've got Lazard on, and Garrett Wilson is alongside. There's got that kind of like split wide back formation thing going on. Wilson is available on the check down. He catches the ball down to the 4, down to the 3-yard line. Tackled, gang tackled in the end by Byron Murphy Jr. initially, but picks up a chunky yardage on the play. And now the biggest play of this game so far at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 6:37, clock is rolling. Third and goal from the 2-yard line. A field goal makes it a 1-score game. It's not the end of the world. The turnover, the worst thing that can happen here. But desperately the Jets need their second offensive touchdown of the day. Where will Rodgers look? He stacked receivers to his left. Wilson single coverage against Stephon Gilmore to his right. Braylon Allen alongside him now in the backfield. Stamps his foot. 3-step drop back. Takes time. Goes to Garrett Wilson. Blanketed, and there are flags on the play. Stephon Gilmore all over Garrett Wilson. Draped over him like a purple curtain. And pass interference is going to give them first and goal at the 1.
I'm surprised he still has his pass interference.
Yeah, we know it's pass interference, Scott. Come on, get on with it.
Garrett Wilson almost getting stripped. Surprised he even got his pad still on, the amount he's holding him.
Stephon Gilmore, unsurprisingly, did not like that call, but he really hung around for a while there, letting the official know what he thought. And I think quite lucky that he didn't suffer a further transgression there, because he was pushing it to the limit, I think, with his reaction.
6:10 remaining. As much as they need the touchdown here, first and goal at the 1, they need to try and score quickly as they go. 4 wide receivers, a tight end along the line as well. Braylon Allen is single cover out to the right. Rodgers with lots of time in the pocket, finds his man on the goal line. Garrett Wilson, touchdown New York Jets. He had all the time in the world in the pocket there. Brian Flores decided to drop 7, give Garrett Wilson all the time to get open, and Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, the connection is finally real as they make this a 3-point game if the extra point goes through.
And that's where you have to wonder about Brian Flores' decision to only rush 3, because with someone like Aaron Rodgers, it's an empty set. He's got all the time in the world to find an open receiver. It's not like he's got to throw the ball deep downfield. It's condensed. And Garrett Wilson comes up with a touchdown. Great decision there from Aaron Rodgers.
The most aggressive defensive coordinator in the NFL gets soft in the biggest moment as the extra point is up, and the extra point is good for Greg Zuerlein, and it's a 20-7 game, the Minnesota 17 game. The Minnesota Vikings lead the New York Jets live here on talkSPORT 2 with 6:04 remaining. This is the 9th ever game to be played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 7 of those games have been decided by 1 score or less. We've got a barnstorming finish for you live up next here on talkSPORT 2. I like being able to repeat stats that I've used on the YouTube channel when I'm now then doing it live on radio.
That you could double down. Well, I'm going to dive in. I'll give you some stats we can roll out. So that was the 18th time Rodgers has targeted Wilson today. Conklin, Williams, Alan Lazard, no Mike White, sadly, Will. 18
How many
collectively.
times did I do it?
Between once or twice. Between the 3 of them, 18 targets for those 3, 18 targets for Wilson. So if we're thinking about this trust factor, are we sure? Well, it's definitely a new dawn for the pair, and a drive like that and a play like that, Christian, is going to further cement his confidence in Wilson.
Huge, especially the amount that he's been going to him. I mean, 18 targets is showing, look, everything's been going around in the media, everything that everyone's been saying about the lack of trust. Here, show me what you can do. I'm going to keep feeding you the ball, and he's played well today.
They had 42 pass attempts last week and sub-20 rushes. And again this week, 13 rushes, 45 pass attempts. Absolutely rubbish.
I have to say, when they lined up at empty, I was thinking, what are you doing? I was thinking, just get a head of steam up and punch it in.
Yeah, I loved it. Second. Oh, we're live. We're back on radio. Lovely to hear. Right, okay, we're back live on talkSPORT 2. The kickoff went out the back of the end zone for the New York Jets. So the Minnesota Vikings with a 20-17 lead. They're 4-0 on the season. They're 3-0 here in London. No team has ever come to London and left undefeated. They've got 6 minutes and 4 seconds to take off the clock with a 3-point lead to win this game of football and go to 5-0. Sam Darnold, a huge interception on the last drive. Can he do it on this one? He starts with a handoff to Ty Chandler, who rumbles for just a yard. Just a half a yard even. They're going to call that 2nd and 9, but that's generous at the 31-yard line. Not the drive starter you needed, Christian Scotland-Williams.
And if you're the Jets, the hair on the back of your neck is on fire because you're thinking, Aaron Rodgers just scored. We've come up with turnovers, come up with interceptions. Let's go.
They've got no huddle. Quick step, 5-step drop. No pressure for Darnold. Darnold over the middle. Justin Jefferson all the way across midfield down to the 43-yard line of the New York Jets. He might not have come up big today. Just 4 catches off 10 targets before that. But suddenly, a big man in a big moment makes a big play and gets the Vikings into plus territory.
And it's that same deep in cut that we saw earlier, and it's exactly the same spot, just in front of the logo, and that's field flipping position. So they're actually able to give themselves a nice cushion. They can go back to the run game, take some time off the clock, 5 minutes remaining.
1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Huge moment for Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. Jefferson is lined up opposite Sauce Gardner on the far side from us. Addison to the left. It's going to be a little toss play to Ty Chandler with the holes of open available. Managed to make a man miss, makes a second miss and gets all the way down to the 38-yard line of the New York Jets. But there is a flag on the play in the area of the offensive backfield. You've got to think that's probably holding.
Legal block in the back.
All that.
The offense, number 67. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Illegal block in the back is going to bring that play back. Then a nice big chunk play for Ty Chandler to start that set of downs, and instead they're going to be moved all the way back to a 1st and 20 in their own territory, losing 10 of those yards that Justin Jefferson managed to pick up on his big 27-yard completion.
We're going to find out an awful lot about Sam Darnold. You know, he's been one of the big stories, maybe the biggest story of the season so far. These next few minutes, this drive, will tell us a lot about how far he's come.
Love it, man. Absolutely love it. Darnold in the gun. Ty Chandler alongside him. Jefferson going from right to left in the formation. Addison to his right. And he's got Jalen Naylor, who's had some big catches and big moments this season, far left. He goes in that direction. It's Jefferson who gets the ball at the 46-yard line and is rolled down to the ground. Nice tackling from Isaiah Oliver. And that's going to make it a 2nd and 12. Picks up 8 of those yards lost and keeps the ball rolling. 46-yard line. You'd have to think, with the long for Greg Zuerlein, a season long of just 40, but a career long of 61 yards. They want to be picking up at least another first down here if they're going to end up settling for a field goal. The field goal doesn't make it a 2-score game. It takes time off the clock. 4:16 remaining. 2nd and 12. Ball on the 46. Darnold under centre. Ty Chandler in behind him. Tight end goes in motion. Johnny Munt. Darnold heads in that direction. Munt over the 30-yard line, down to the 25, and that's a Vikings first down at the 24-yard line. 20-17 game at inside 4 minutes. A real chance to take some time off the clock here, Christian.
And this is where Sam Darnold's maturity of being in the league for 7 years, going from bad situation, learning, being a backup, really comes in, because it's a big pressure moment to drive, secure this win. And last week he threw to 9 different receivers. We're seeing that here today, different people stepping up where it matters.
They're rolling that play at the 26-yard line. So 1st and 10 at the 26. They're going to let these play clocks run all the way down. 6 seconds left on the play clock. 3:28 left on the game clock. Darnold steps his foot. CJ Ham goes in motion. Ty Chandler there as well. Darnold's going to throw. Darnold's going to hit Jefferson, who bobbles and bubbles it, and nearly into the hands of Sauce Gardner on the coverage, but out of bounds, and it goes down as an incompletion, which at least from a Jets perspective will stop the clock. 3:19 remaining. 2nd and 10 with the ball at the 26.
Really interesting there, Justin Jefferson with his visor saying he can't see it. Maybe the rain needs some windscreen wipers on the visor to be able to get that ball to come down, but he's gone off to the sideline to get that changed.
He's just on his back shoulder, needed it in front of him. You've got to remember these guys, if you throw a sideline catch, they're so good at getting those toes down. You had to offer him a chance to go and win that down, and I'm not sure they did. Darnold in the gun, Ty Chandler alongside him, 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right, takes the ball, puts it into the gut of Ty Chandler, who rumbles forward for maybe 2 yards on that play. It's going to be 3rd and 8, and the New York Jets will take a timeout with 3 minutes 15 remaining, knowing that a stop on 3rd and 7 here. What if we get like a 4 or 5 yard pickup, Christian? What if we get into like a 4th and 2 with a field goal not making it a touchdown game? Oh, we've got some big downs coming up, buddy.
One thing's for sure, London definitely brings the drama late.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
Remember, we've got live NFL right after this, and it's a huge game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. John Jackson in the seat for that one back at talkSPORT Towers. The Jags 0-4. I mean, stick a fork in them if they don't win tonight against the Colts. And, of course, the Jags heading to London for back-to-back games next week and the week after, which you can hear live right here on talkSPORT 2.
But winnable games in London. It could be that they come and leave here 3-4 and suddenly back in playoff contention. Right. 3rd and 7, huge down. Darnold throws out to his right-hand side. Jefferson is there. Oh, brilliant coverage by the New York Jets, smothering him out on that far side. And it's Chuck Clark in on the challenge. They're going to have to settle for a field goal, which is 3:11 remaining on a 4th and 7 from the 23. It's going to give the Jets a chance to go and win this football game.
It's a chance. It's more than enough time on the clock. The defense has come up big when they've needed it. And Aaron Rodgers is historically the master of the 2-minute drill. Is it set up for a glorious comeback in London in a rainy day?
Perfect on the season so far. Perfect, obviously, that means on the day so far as well. Will Ricard absolutely nails this one from around 41 yards. And it's going to be a 23-17 game. The Minnesota Vikings, with only 6 second-half points, have put themselves in a position where the New York Jets, 3:07 on the clock, are going to have a chance to go and win this game of football. It's tight late at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
You know, it is critical, that field goal. For obvious reasons, it extends the lead. The point you made earlier, well, if the Jets score a touchdown, then it's probably game over. But it will change the play calling now, because they know that they've got to score a touchdown if they're going to stay in it. Yep. Whereas field position, okay, well, we can be conservative here. We'll settle for that. We'll push it to overtime if needs be. That's not on the table anymore.
No, not at all. And this is where Aaron Rodgers is probably going to have to come out slinging the ball, but also managing the clock, managing the ball to make sure it's not getting put in harm's way. And it'll be interesting to see. Garrett Wilson has been his go-to guy today. 18 targets with multiple receptions and a touchdown. Will Brian Flores send the house or take him away? That's the question.
Great point. Looking at the clock, as you say, 3:07 on it. The Jets have 2 timeouts remaining. The Vikings have all 3. And we, of course, objective 1 is for the Jets to score a touchdown from their perspective. But they've also got to be mindful of the clock. They don't want to score too quickly and leave the Vikings time to get back into it.
Don't get me wrong. If they get an opportunity as the kickoff goes all the way through the back of the end zone, if on the opening play here, Aaron Rodgers hits play action, Garrett Wilson, 70-yard touchdown, they're not going to complain.
They're going to take it.
They'll take that.
He's not going to take it near the 1 just to wind the clock down, that's for sure.
But the Vikings only managing to take 2:57 off the clock on that last drive is really telling. And I get putting the ball in the hands of Darnold. He's been brilliant through 4 weeks. He's the NFC Offensive Player of the Month for September. But not running the ball when you've got down to the 25-yard line more than once with the 3 downs you had to either take that time off the clock or cost the Jets some timeouts. I think they may have overthought that a little bit, Kevin O'Connell, and let's see what the Jets can do. Starting from the 30, Rodgers in the gun, Breece Hall is out there. Conklin is the tight end. 3 receivers, the same 3 has been all day. Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, Garrett Wilson. Rodgers looks in the direction of Wilson. It's Lazard. Lazard deep down the sideline, going for it all inside the 50. Absolute coverage as we see Shaq Griffin pulling on the seatbelt at corner for the Minnesota Vikings. That's an incompletion. It'll be 2nd and 10.
But that's a perfectly thrown ball on the sideline, giving his man a chance. Alan Lazard gets 2 hands to it, and there's a chance you can toe tap and bring it down.
23-17, the Minnesota Vikings lead the New York Jets with 3:02 remaining. A touchdown here gives the Jets a lead, but they've got a long way to go first. 30-yard line. Rodgers again in the gun. Breece Hall alongside him. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Bit of pressure being brought over the middle to Garrett Wilson. Out to the 40, down to the 45, almost out to the 50. Garrett Wilson crossing across the formation with a big pickup of about 21 yards, 20-ish for the New York Jets, and that'll be a Jets first down near midfield.
And he's the hot hand. Garrett Wilson is the hot hand today. 19 targets and coming up to 80 yards of offense. So this offense has to go through him on this drive.
Rodgers in the gun. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 46. He goes for a quick screen out to Alan Lazard. Wide receiver screen. Gets into Minnesota Vikings territory. Nice 7-yard pickup on 1st down with Mike Williams and Tyler Conklin out there blocking for him. Just changing this up, mixing things up as we head down towards the 2-minute warning. Surely they'll take it here. Oh, they're lining up maybe to try and draw them off sides, which would give them the 1st down. Rodgers is in the gun. Are they going to snap the ball before we get to 2 minutes? 4 seconds remaining. Rodgers tapping on his helmet. 2:02, 2:01. Gets the call. He thought he might have drawn an offside there, but the Viking did not go into the neutral zone. Blake Cashman did step up to fake the blitz, but didn't actually step into that neutral zone. Therefore, they won't get the 1st down. But at the 2-minute warning, the Jets, down by 6, have the ball over midfield, and we'll have the conclusion of this game live and exclusive for you up next here on talkSPORT 2.
This is the game within the game now. On the logo.
All right. Call it. Which way is it going?
I think short game, screens, Garrett Wilson, I think they could do it. I think they could do it. I think they could score.
I think the Vikings hold it. I think they still hold it.
I think Brian Flores is going to send the house because he dropped 3 and then gave Aaron Rodgers too much time. If the Jets go play action, it's finished. It's done. They'll
Rodgers turnover.
Yeah.
23-17
yeah.
game.
They need to keep doing what they're doing. It's almost like empty sets, quick 5-yard outs, work their way up. They've got enough time. They've 2-minute warning, and they've only got to go 50 yards. I think they've got more than enough time. They just need to stay ahead of the chains. Artificial run game, screens, short check downs, just keep ahead of the chains.
After the game today, for those of you watching on YouTube, on talkSPORT Endzone, don't forget, if you're in the UK, on talkSPORT 2, you'll get live coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Indianapolis Colts, live and exclusive to UK radio, followed by 49ers Cardinals, followed by Sunday Night Football. That's right, in front of 61,139 fans here in Tottenham, we've got 14.5 hours of live NFL coverage for you on talkSPORT 2 throughout the course of today. We've got the drums going, the skull ringing out. God, it's already 5:45. We'll be going into the locker room at the end of this game and picking up some interviews with the winning team.
Where can you see those interviews, Will?
Oh, on the talkSPORT Endzone YouTube channel, buddy.
Like and subscribe.
All right then, it is crunch time. The 2-minute warning, the skull chant going all around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And the Vikings need their fans to lift them now, because the second half has been a rally from the Jets, and they have a shot to take it all. A 2-minute drill with one of the very best in the business in this situation. It is game on, 23-17, Vikings-Jets, but the Jets have the initiative right now. Can they convert it to the lead, Will Gavin?
Rainy North London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for you. Live and exclusive coverage of the NFL International Games for you on the talkSPORT network. We were at Brazil for the opening game of the season. We're in London for the next 3. We're in Germany as well later this year. And is Aaron Rodgers going to give us the blockbuster finish this opening London game deserves? 2nd and 3, ball at the 47, 2 minutes on the clock. Timeouts for both teams remaining. Rodgers splits Breece Hall out. They've gone 5 wide on the 2nd and short. Only 4 man pressure from the Vikings. Alan Lazard over the middle and first down, New York Jets. Again, a little bit soft zone from those Vikings.
But what's good is they're getting pre-snap indicators by moving Breece Hall out from the backfield. You can see whether it's man or zone. So then before the snap, even though there's so many defenders on the line, Aaron Rodgers already thinking where he's going with the ball.
1st and 10 at the 41. Rodgers in the gun with Breece Hall alongside him. This time they do bring the house, the Vikings. This time they do bring pressure. Deep shot. Garrett Wilson downfield. Just a little overthrown. Oh, that was nearly for it all with Stephon Gilmore in coverage. But that was classic B-flow as the house was brought right into Aaron Rodgers' lap.
And you feel like this double move, that's a touchdown. If Aaron Rodgers can set his feet, doesn't get spooked out of his spot, that's a touchdown.
So, 2nd and 10 from the 41. Rodgers in the gun. Breece Hall alongside him. 3 receivers. Same 3 receivers. He's out on the field almost all day long today. Garrett Wilson to the right. Tyler Conklin moves in formation from the right to the left. Rodgers takes the snap. He's got time in the pocket. Throws to Wilson. Wilson across the first down line. Down to the Minnesota Vikings 30. Actually, I think they're going to rule him down touched. Good coverage on the play from Blake Cashman, the linebacker, and they're going to rule him a yard short of the first down. The little scramble to the 30 was after he'd already been touched. So they go no huddle. 1:09 remaining on the clock. 3rd and 1. Ball on the 32. Vikings have all 3 timeouts. Breece Hall gets the first down. Breece Hall gets down to the 26-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings, and we're inside a minute remaining. 1st and 10 from the 26. They are not rushing here, the New York Jets. 50 seconds remaining. They know they've got 2 timeouts, and in fact...
Second charge, timeout, New York.
The Jets take that second timeout, which Aaron Rodgers looks a little bit confused about on the field.
Yeah, you want to keep that in your pocket, because then you would still be able to run the ball on this next down and have that stopping the clock. But they know they have to go for a touchdown. They know they have to go for a touchdown, so a field goal doesn't do it for them. So they don't even need to rush a special teams unit on the field. So this offensive unit is staying on till the end of this game.
58 seconds remaining. It's the same offensive unit we've seen throughout this game. Rodgers sacked multiple times, but overall on these last 2 drives has been kept clean and has kept making plays. Garrett Wilson splits out to the left-hand side, where he's going to be covered by Byron Murphy Jr. Mike Williams inside him. Alan Lazard alongside the line of scrimmage. Tyler Conklin to the left. Breece Hall in with Rodgers. Rodgers takes a step back. He's up in the air. Rodgers goes to catch his own pass and realises that for clock sense, letting the ball hit the ground is the better idea, and it'll be 2nd and 10 at the 26.
Really high IQ play there. The instincts saw him step up to catch the ball, but then knowing that would have the knock-on effect of giving him even less time to be able to make the next play. Very smart veteran move there.
You've got 3 downs to play with. You know it's 4-down territory every single time. 2nd and 10 from the 26. This Vikings defense have seen a lot more of the field in this second half than the first. Haven't had the takeaways they had in that first half either. Rodgers is in the gun with Breece Hall there. Alan Lazard splits out at a very, very late. Shaq Griffin joining him on that side. Rodgers cocks his leg. Pressure. Steps up in the pocket. Throws the ball away. Oh, into the area of Garrett Wilson. But he absolutely had to do that because he was being completely mauled by the end of that play by Jonathan Grenard coming off that left side. And they avoid the negative play and they get 3rd and 10 with 49 seconds remaining. Down 6.
You know
this is not the game, but it's close to the game.
You know you're in 4-down territory. You don't have to go for it all to convert on this. You can still get a 7-8 yard completion, and then you know you're going for it on 4th down anyway.
What does Brian Flores do with these exotic looks he loves up front? He has got 6 on the line.
Slot blitz.
Potential for the slot blitz, or are they showing blitz and dropping? No, they do bring the slot blitz. Picked up by the left tackle. Thrown out towards Mike Williams. Interception! Interception into the arms of Stephon Gilmore. Looking for Mike Williams on that side. Loads of contact. Desperately searching for the flags. But Brian Flores' Minnesota Vikings defense has won this game for the team from Minneapolis. 23-17. Yes, the Jets have a timeout, but it won't be enough at this point, and the players are on the field making snow angels. Absolutely huge. The Vikings will head to 5-0.
Wow, that's just not what you expected the game to end on. But Stephon Gilmore, veteran, former Defensive Player of the Year, comes up with the game sealer. That's the decider. You think he's going to throw the back shoulder, but ends up falling straight into his lap on the floor.
23-17, the Minnesota Vikings will run out the winners. 44 seconds on the clock. The greatest formation in all of football, the victory formation, is on the way for Sam Darnold. Only 2 teams have ever come to London with an undefeated record. The 2-0 Baltimore Ravens lost 44-7 to the Jags. Now the 4-0 Minnesota Vikings will come away with a 1-score win over the New York Jets as we tick down inside the 40. And unless the Jets are going to take that timeout, just to be a little bit petty, the game is all going to be said and done. 5-0. Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings are going to leave London as Darnold takes a second knee, as the crowd get to their feet, as the teams come out to midfield to greet. Kevin O'Connell and Robert Saleh meeting right at the 40-yard line. It wasn't a pretty game of football at times. It was sloppy for the main part. Turnovers playing a huge part. And in the end, a Minnesota Vikings interception. This Brian Flores defense stepping up late in the game seals a victory for the Vikings.
Defensive football. You have to love it. Sometimes it's not the most attractive for some people, but you had a defensive touchdown, then you had the chess match of being able to even drive and score in this game was really difficult. There was a chance there for Aaron Rodgers to have a classic comeback 2-minute drive, seal the victory, and then what happens? Defensive stop, interception, Stephon Gilmore with a walk-off pick.
Boys, I've got to go down to the locker room, but I just want to say one quick thing. If people are watching on the YouTube channel, yes, we've hit the over on the mentions of it, live at talkSPORT Endzone. A question was asked by you a moment ago, who would have seen that being the end of the game? I think you'll find in the last break I said Aaron Rodgers, turnover, 23-17 Vikings.
Oh,
I predicted the game.
Here we go.
Top work, boys. Top work.
Look back at you. Brilliant stuff, Will. As Will said, he's heading off to the locker room to get as many interviews as he can, which, of course, that might not be around for much longer, the NFLPA.
Yes.
Trying to face
definitely.
that. How do you get someone who's been in that situation?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we both have on different sides of it, right? And for anyone listening at home, watching on YouTube,